We got some hot jams, and we need those to prepare for the incredibly hot jams and hot gaming to soon commence. Greetings, everybody. Happy Wednesday, and welcome to another installment of Games Bond. Tonight, we will continue our mission of making our way through... I was just about to say Games Bond Jr., but let's just roll with it. Games Bond Jr. for the NES. Bilbo, Itinerant Soldier, Space Hoppercopter, Spiritual Chief of Gronks, Zetsubera, Atomic Runner, Lurkers in chat, VOD viewers, and everybody else, welcome, and I hope you are doing well. I'm pretty jazzed. I had a good time on Monday. I was shocked and relieved that this highly European exploratory action platformer was significantly more civilized than you know, what a lifetime of experience had led me to believe. We are, of course, playing through the entire history of James Bond 007 video games. And we have made it to game number 13 of the regular lineup. The first of two games based on the animated cartoon series James Bond Jr., the first of which is developed by Eurocom for the NES, the second of which developed by Grey Matter for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. And we'll probably get to that next week, I reckon. But one thing at a time. We started on Monday, and like I said, had some pretty decent success with the game. It was civilized. It gives you a... I guess I shouldn't call it a strict time limit. A time limit, but infinite lives and continues, essentially, to clear a stage within that time limit. And once we sort of determined how things worked, and I did my second attempt at stage 1, having read the manual, learned how to actually switch weapons, and then I didn't have to backtrack through the entire level, etc., etc. We cleared stage 1 with time to spare. I figured I would, like, you know, we'll give level 2 a shot, but we'll see how it goes. And level 2 ended up being like half as long and far simpler than level 1. So as of now, we have procured a password to level 3, which is the third of 4 levels. And like I said, level 2 was already significantly less complex than the first one. Level 1 and level 2 each have their own, like, mini game. So in the first stage, you're supposed to, like, deactivate 6 missiles. And each of them, like, to deactivate the missile, you do a sort of sliding puzzle kind of a thing. In stage 2, you have to find blueprints in a bunch of safes. So there's a little safe cracking minigame to get into those saves. And according to the manual, stage 3 and 4 do not have an equivalent sort of minigame. I think it said that stage 4, I mean, we can take a look at the manual again. I think we'll have, based on my experience last night, I think we will have ample time to finish the game tonight. So we can take a minute to check back in on the manual. But if memory serves, they basically seem to imply that stage 4 will have some kind of... I don't want to call it boss rush. I think that might be overselling it a little bit. But it sounds like maybe we'll get to actually fight some villains on stage 4. And I think stage 3, maybe we're supposed to, like, destroy a couple of computers or something like that. So it sounds a little bit like the stages kind of get decreasingly elaborate as it goes on, which means that the second half of the game might be shorter and simpler than the first one. We'll see. I did not take for granted that this would be a finishable game, you know, by humans at least. And so it's been a pleasantly sort of comfy experience. We also checked out a few more episodes of the show on my Discord last night. And yeah, it's funny with these, like, the collection of episodes, some of which are, I guess, sourced from some kind of VHS. The ones we watched yesterday were clearly recorded off TV, and in fairly atrocious quality, but I think it sort of adds a little bit to the experience. We got our first look at Dr. No, who is prominently featured in a lot of the promotional artwork and stuff, including the cover art for this game, which is not an original illustration made for the game, mind you, but even so, like, it depicts a bunch of stuff that so far has not really been present in the game. So Dr. No, now it's been many years since I saw the film. I don't remember specifically if it's like made explicit or clear his ethnic or national background. I reckon he's supposed to be Asian. I don't know if it's made clear that he's Japanese or what. I'm not sure if he's played by an actual Asian actor in the film. My memory is that he's played by someone wearing a lot of makeup. I'm not sure. But in the show, in the James Bond Jr., he's got like some kind of, well, we can look at pictures. We'll get to that in a second. But he's like, there's clearly an Asian motif, and his themed, thugs are ninjas. And I was excited to see, because I'd seen snippets of, Dr. No and his ninjas in his, in the ads and stuff we'd seen, in some, clips from the opening of the show, or pictures of toys or whatever. Watching the first episode of the show where Dr. No and his crew appears, I was not ready for the fact that despite Dr. No being kind of Asian coded, let's say, despite having a crew of ninjas, apparently they're all like Cockney ninjas. Like, he speaks with some kind of, there's a lot of accents going on in this show, because, it's got this kind of globe-trotting theme, right? So, like, every episode takes place in either a different country, or, in this example, like, in this case, this episode, it's like Dr. No is kidnapping some cryogenics scientist man, and after the kidnapping, they drop like a matchbook from a sushi restaurant in some place in London, so they have to go there, and it's like, yeah, it would have made sense for his crew to be Japanese, or they have all these generic Asian accents or whatever, but nope, they're all like, they've got extremely British accents, but not him. He's got this kind of vaguely Asian accent. It's quite funny. Ninja epidemic in the 90s hit England especially hard. Well, I mean, kind of, but not really. Like, ninjas were really fucking cracked down on in England. I mean, maybe not by 92. They would have, I guess, I mean, they don't explicitly call them ninjas. They just clearly are. But yeah, in the 80s, there was a lot of very strict censorship of certain aspects of kind of martial arts, like depictions of martial arts and martial arts adjacent stuff in films and TV. I mean, I guess the most famous example would be the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon show being renamed the Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. And in addition, basically every shot of Michelangelo using his nunchucks to do anything like were cut from the BBC version. My understanding of that is that it was always like nunchucks in particular were like, because even like a bunch of Bruce Lee movies and whatever else, like the nunchuck scenes were usually like cut from the UK releases. My understanding was that nunchucks, I guess, came across as sort of, not that they were improvised or makeshift weapons, but you could, compared to a fucking samurai sword or whatever, nunchucks, I guess, would be seen as kind of something you could improvise, or kids would like be inspired to make nunchucks and kill each other or some shit. I don't really know, but I don't know. But of course, it is worth mentioning that the show James Bond Jr. is not a British show. But it's funny too, and I kind of realized that watching the first couple episodes, it kind of caught me off guard. That like, of course, James Bond Jr., the character, would be British. James Bond, I mean, not that James Bond Sr. couldn't spawn like progeny at any part of the world with whoever, you know, of course he could. But you know, it makes sense, and he's going to this British boarding school or whatever. So there's like, for your average cartoon from the 80s or 90s, there's like a very heavy, you know, representation of ostensibly British people with ostensibly British accents, which is, you know, it's outside of the norm, and you don't necessarily think about it until you see the show and listen to it. And it's like, it is pretty, I mean, I don't want to call it progressive, but it's at least a little unusual to watch like a kids show from that time that's like very American cartoon, but the main character is British, or, you know, ostensibly. And yeah, like I said, because of the whole globe-trotting theme, you go to different locations, and like whether they travel to the other parts of the world, like in the other episode where they just decided to take a plane to Hong Kong, and Trevor, that's his name, right? Travis, whatever, the shit heel that everyone hates, he decides to just on a whim get himself a flight to Hong Kong for the express purpose of stalking James Bond Jr. He's got a very unhealthy obsession with that. So there's always an excuse for exotic accents, let's say. But yeah, even when they're in their own backyard, like you got Dr. No and whatever, and his crew of ninjas. But you know, they're local, so they've got the extremely British accent instead. I thought it was very funny. What's up, Mr. Fu? The idea was the nunchucks were easy to conceal. Sure, I mean, if you want to fearmonger, but those are all things you could put in that. I was gonna say plus column. I don't know if that's a plus or a minus, but it's an argument that could be made. It's a strange time. Still a lot of video ninja-related video games. I mean, it makes sense because you wouldn't expect that to be, you know, not as regulated in the first place, but also, you know, it would probably take a good while for the kinds of people who would be concerned with these matters. Video games would not really have been on their radar. I mean, probably until, you know, the whole like Doom and Mortal Kombat and whatever, like that stuff was still a few years away. Yeah, Ninja Gaiden was Shadow Warriors. Like, there were definitely, I mean, that's the thing. Like, it wasn't necessarily the concept of ninja so much as the word ninja. Because that was often the case for sure. But, and it's also like, it's not necessarily, at least without digging into it, super easy to tell, like, what, who has a part in that. Like, I could easily see Nintendo themselves being like overly cautious or like overly diplomatic, let's say. Like, I don't know that the British government or whoever like restricted companies from publishing a game with ninja in the title. That could be the case, I don't know. But I mean, obviously you had The Last Ninja and stuff like that. Although, again, that would have been a little bit earlier. But given, you know, Nintendo were absolutely no stranger to, like, overreach. And I would reckon, by my estimation, that Nintendo themselves were probably a little bit more hands-on with the publishing stuff in certain regions. So it could easily have been a Nintendo decision to not, you know, because there's not just Ninja Gaiden, but there's also Shadow the Ninja, which became Blue Shadow in PAL regions. And I'm trying to think, like, the TMNT games and everything too, but I'm trying to think right now if I can think of any other examples that weren't on Nintendo platforms. but I'm not sure. That's honestly neither here nor there. Let's get into the mood. Let's go to the right scene here, and we will very quickly recap a little bit of James Bond Jr. lore for people who may not have been around for the last stream before we jump into the game, shall we? First of all, let us recap main information about the game right here. James Bond Jr. NES 1992. This game came out in late 92, which would have been, I reckon, soon after the show went off the air. Although, I guess that's not the right way of phrasing it exactly, because the show was made for syndication, so it probably would have been airing at some place or another after that point. But the original airing, like, there was one season made of 65 episodes, and that was it. And that original season originally aired, from what I can understand, or at least it's always listed as like 91 to 92. But I guess if it's made for syndication, if it wasn't originally for a network, then I'm not even sure how, like, does it have an original air date? I don't know. That shit is a little confusing to me, because concept of syndication and like local channels and whatever doesn't really exist here. So I'm not entirely sure, but in any case, new episodes were not really continuing to be made past the point of this game coming out, I suppose. In any case, game based off a cartoon series of the same name. The game puts the player in control of James Bond's teenage nephew, James Bond Jr. As the theme song helpfully explains, he learned the game from his uncle James, and now he's heir to the name James Bond. I'm not sure that how, like, was he originally named something else? Was he like Charles Bond, and then after learning enough spy shit, he like just inherited his uncle's first name? I mean, maybe that's an old, old British thing. I don't know. Maybe it's a spy thing. Who can say? There still would have been a standard where the episode would have aired within a set week with US syndication. I'll take your word for it. It's just one of those, like, kind of a deep rabbit holes, I guess. Or it's one of those things where, I mean, especially, honestly, there's so much, like, media stuff where you dig into stuff that's slightly older, and TV, I'm sure, is generally a lot better documented than certainly games and other stuff too, but like whatever information you can find, like, it's so easy to kind of regurgitate inaccurate or incomplete information that I don't know that the stuff you kind of catch on a glance at Google or Wikipedia or whatever and is necessarily factually true. But whatever the case, those details don't really matter too much. In any case, the plot of the game is that, yeah, the top scientific minds of the world have been kidnapped, and it is Junior's task to find them and save the world. Agents have seen missile sites on an island, and they believe its scumlord is responsible. All in a day's work, yeah. So that is stage one. Stage one is finding the missiles. Stage two is finding the blueprints. And I forget what stage three is, but I believe stage four is rescuing the scientists, each of whom are like guarded by some kind of boss. I remember, like, the way I read it in the manual, I took it to mean like that. I got the impression basically that we were gonna see some of the actual villains from the show in that stage. I don't know how much of that was projection and wishful thinking. We'll check the manual again and see, if we can kind of adjust our expectations if need be. But the villains, in my opinion, are like the real highlight of the show, and it's kind of baffling to me that you would make a game and not feature them. Like, the show is so honestly built like to be a video game, because every episode is like so nicely self-contained and like has a very clear theme or a gimmick that you could build a video game level around it. You know, like there's the El Dorado level with, or episode, you know, with Goldfinger and Oddjob. There's the Egyptian mummy episode with Pharaoh Pharaoh. There's the, who was even in it? There was the episode where in Hong Kong. Oh yeah, Walker D. Plank was in that episode, but there's some other villain too that I don't know if I count the name of them. But like the gimmick, or you know, the plot of the episode is basically the villains have this, they kidnap this like toy manufacturer, and they basically design these like radio controlled, or maybe just automated little action figures that combine into a giant robot. And their idea is like, all right, we're gonna force this toy company to sell our evil robot figures, and once they're out there, we can control them and assemble a big robot and go rob a bank with them, or whatever they're gonna do. And they do this in the episode on some kind of a pilot scale, where they literally, like, they have this shipment of robots sent to a local toy store. They literally drive to the toy store and just park outside of it in their like truck just to like watch what happens. And before even a single one of the figures are sold, or as it in fact is in the process of being sold, like the first one, the entire stockpile of figures just activate and they assemble into a big robot, and then they break out of the toy store and like go across the street to do whatever, and then James Bond comes to stop them. It's like not a super well thought out plot, but the point is, you could have a stage that's like, hey, we're in Hong Kong, we're fighting sentient action figures, or hey, we're in Egypt, we're fighting mummies and Egyptian themed henchmen. You know, we're in the east side of London fighting Dr. No's Cockney ninjas. And the game like doesn't do any of that. It's a little baffling, because I feel like it's the plot or the setting of the game is generic enough that it's not like they would, you know, forego any of that stuff in favor of something much more elaborate or specific. I don't know. I mean, for all I know, they might not even have like a show Bible to get any information out of to make the game, or they didn't give a fuck, or the publisher didn't, or you know, who knows. I just think it's a little bit of a missed opportunity. Let's see. Greetings, Mr. Numbers. You watched James Bond Jr. as a kid? I caught an episode here or there, but I never really watched it. I mainly just remember the theme song, which is like a fucking banger of a theme song, which has been in my head so like permanently for the last couple of days that it's just it's never gonna let up. And I have no choice but to do what I can to inflict the same fate on all of you guys. Let's see if is this gonna... Yep, that was the manual thing. It automatically hides, which is kind of annoying. It's not supposed to do that. But we can, might as well hide that now, because instead, set the tone. Why don't we watch opening to James Bond Jr.
James Bond Jr. No one can stop him, but scum always tries. Young Bond cuts through each web of spies. He learned the game from his Uncle James. Now he's heir to the name. James Bond. James Bond Jr. Look out, he's coming through. He's got a job to do while he rescues the girl. James Bond Jr. chases scum around the world.
Pretty good. It's pretty good. People are excited in chat with all right. Now, sadly, so far as we've played through the game, this theme song does not feature in it. However, being a extremely European game, there's Commodore 64 arpeggios left and right, and hot jams, more hot jams than you really know what to do with. But it's not really a problem. Just would have been really cool to hear the same folks responsible for those jams kind of make their own interpretation of the show's theme song. When is James Pond? It's funny, like, so many people have brought that up, and I think it's like, I think it's pretty clear what this project is all about. And I mean, not that it would be completely unreasonable or unentertaining or interesting to take a look at it. Although I think I may have just plentiful childhood trauma from James Pond 2. There's like so much, like, I think when people bring that up, whether it's like jokingly or not, I think people underestimate how much actual James Bond stuff there is. And, you know, there's enough actual James Bond to occupy me for, I'm fairly sure, the rest of this year quite easily, maybe even most of next year. So, like, it's not that I'm entirely against, you know, a James Pond marathon or whatever, but it's like, we needn't get sidetracked with aquatic espionage spin-offs when there's so much genuine James Bond action to be covered. No, that's fine, Sword Fam. I don't mind. I just think it's like I said, it's not that I'm upset by it. It's more that it's like, that's fine, whatever. But I'm so much more excited about this. It's like so much more actual stuff. Well, let's take care of that first, and we'll you know, we'll see. Maybe we'll get to that eventually. But I would say, you know, so far at least, I don't know that. I mean, James Bond 2 isn't like a terrible game, but it's quite British. It's maybe more of what I would expected James Bond Jr. to be. It's long and it's difficult and it's like tedious and clunky and kind of neat, kind of funny, kind of charming in its own way. But I'm pretty sure the first James Pond is like a bit of a mess. From what I've played of it, James Pond 3 is actually pretty cool though. Am I going to feature the James Bond games of Commodore 64? Well, I have. We are doing these games in chronological order, and that means we are pretty much past the microcomputer era. If you type !007, you got a link right there to the official spreadsheet in which you can see the full list of games. And there are, at the bottom of the list, some secret bonus missions as well. So we can cover that real quick too, for those who may not be aware. We have 50 original regular games. We also have the Q Branch Research Funding Initiative to help us develop the necessary technology to take on an additional unknown number of secret bonus missions. And those include, so far, 2 unlicensed computer games, but may involve other things. I will say that it does not include James Pond or other Bond knockoffs or derivatives, but it involves stuff that, for one reason or another, didn't quite make the cut to the proper game list. What's up, Macaw 45? There are fewer James Bond motif games than you'd expect. Yeah. I mean, there's an actual shit ton of James Bond games, especially as we do, you know, counting all the mobile stuff that makes up a significant chunk of the entire list. But you're right. There, like, as a motif, the kind of secret agent pastiche game, you know, there's a handful, and some of which are more explicitly, you know, James Bond kind of ripping off, like, you know, SPY. That's the Data East one, right? And it's that. Or do I get is Secret Agent? I always get it mixed up. But one of them is like a Rolling Thunder, like, sort of, that is, you You like you can enter your code number. It's basically a feature that they put in the game just so you can call yourself 007. And that's like extremely, like, it's basically a James Bond action game without a license. But I think there's probably more. SPY is the Konami beat 'em up. All right, yeah, because I was thinking SPY and Secret Agent was the same one, but Secret Agent is called something else in America, isn't it? I get confused. But yeah, because there's those that are like very, very obviously that. But there's also, I mean, Rolling Thunder, the initial Rolling Thunder, like Rolling Thunder 2 and 3, arguably, like with the design of Albatross and whoever the agent is in 3, is like a little more evocative of Bond. And there's absolutely enough, I think, thematic kind of overlap with, you know, you're fighting this villain in his lair and he's going to take over the world and he's got his henchmen. There's like a lot of elements that are very Japanese video gamey, but it's certainly like Bond adjacent. There's what am I thinking of? Is it? It's not called Secret Agent, is it? Like there's a there's like an Apogee platformer that's like in the Duke Nukem engine or whatever, that I think is that I think could, like, thematically, it's like Bond is what it is obviously cribbing from. Is it Secret Agent? Like it's it's something along those lines. There's probably multiple games called Secret Agent. I mean, of course, there's Operation Stealth. If you wanted to, like, if you wanted to include it or disqualify it on the basis of it being adapted to an actual Bond game. But I think there's a couple of other point-and-click adventure games. Like, I don't know, does Codename Iceman qualify? I haven't played that in like 30 years, so I'm not sure. I know it's like submarine themed, but I think it's got like, there's like a secret agent aspect to it, but I forget if it's like, it might still be fairly far away from the Bond. Like it like the character and everything doesn't really have the Bond flavor. Like it's not very overt. So I think you can look at stuff like, there are games that borrow aspect of the oh yeah, Covert Action. That's a cool game actually. That's the Sid Meier one. Like I think there are games that that borrow various elements of it, but even within the proper licensed Bond games, you don't necessarily get or, you know, various people attempt it in different ways, but like trying to incorporate like all the different aspects of like the globe trotting, the, you know, the romance, the gadgets, the shootouts, the fighting, the, you know, driving in chases and elaborate set pieces and you know, whatever it might be. Because like, I don't know, you could look at something like fucking yeah, what's it called? The other Atari Thunderjaws? Is that what it's called? The game that basically plays like Batman, but you're like this, you're on this scuba harpoon action adventure. Like I feel like that definitely has some Bond stuff to it, but it's not really like, if Atari wanted to do a game like that where it's like it's supposed to be like James Bond, it could have leaned a lot closer than what that eventually did. So yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting, but I think it could arguably Thunderjaws, you put more in the Rambo territory, but the setting is very Bond. Yeah, because it's got like the whole secret base, the kind of on the borders of the more fantastical parts of Bond. Like it's very kind of, you know, campy 60s 70s Bond. I mean, there's like No One Lives Forever, right? That's like, although I mean, I guess it's like closer to Austin Powers than James Bond, but of course, you know, it's got that influence, that original inspiration. What was I gonna say? I think it's interesting because even if you think of it like in film and stuff too, there's a million Bond knockoffs, and it's not like James Bond invented spy films or anything like that either, but I feel like it's, I don't know, maybe it's just one of those things where it's like kind of difficult to really, you know, capture the proper appeal of it, without access to the actual license or the actual like specifics of it. Like, it's a kind of specific combination, or it's funny to say that too, of course, given that there's been, you know, a lot of Bond movies that are all very different from each other, and they're all probably pretty different from the books and what have you, but like, it's I feel like it's more specific than, you know, Barbarians or Rambo, or, you know, even something like Star Wars. There's a lot of specifics to Star Wars, but you can create as a kind of rip-off or something evocative of it that's like, you know, it's in space and you got lasers and lightsabers, and like that's kind of it. Whereas Bond is maybe more a little trickier. I don't know. It's Amiga remake of Thunder Jaws, of people that made one of the Amiga Bond games. That, it's funny you say that, like an Amiga version of an Atari arcade game. You know, on the surface, it sounds like it would be pretty dank. But you know, some of those Amiga Bond games were, on average, I would say, they were surprisingly cool. And I think Thunder Jaws is a cool game. Or I don't know. There's something about that Atari jank. You know, it's it has an immense charm, even when the games are a bit fucked. Anywho, let's see if I can do this. I think we could maybe boot up the game. What do you guys say? Getting sidetracked by fucking McCall baiting me into not even ranting this time, just cataloging old games. What am I looking for? Oh, there we go. Oh yeah. Just enjoy these Maximum Europe jams. In fact, you can enjoy this while I go refill my beverage. I'll be back in a minute.
You shall be a champion of the good, protector of the weak and innocent. You shall become a Dragon Master.
There we go. I was like, wait, where's my mute button? I couldn't find it. Spiritual Chief of Gronks, congrats on your newfound status as a Dragon Master. Wield it responsibly. Conversation is always interesting. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. I also just realized that I completely neglected to bring up the manual, as I said I would. So that reminds me, in case we need... there might be other emergencies here, like the alarm during the missile disabling minigame in the first stage. So I'm gonna need to bring up my Windows audio mixer here, so we can turn this down a little bit, and we'll keep this playing, and I will do this. And you'd be able to do... Nope, that's not what I wanted. There we go. It's pretty atrocious quality scan here, but we can just barely make out the text. Yeah, so that's Dr. No on the top right, by the way. Although in the show, his skin is like bright green and not yellow. Maybe they felt that that was slightly less racist. I'm not sure. Yeah, there's Dr. No, and there's Jaws right below him, as you can probably figure out. There's Odd Job on the top left. There's IQ, who's Q's grandson, on the left. And then on the bottom right in the green and orange is, I believe his name is Dr. Derange. We have not seen him in the show yet, so I don't really know what his deal is. But we saw in a toy commercial that the toy has like a like a revolving head. Like he can change his appearance. But I'm not, that's confusing because we've already seen an episode with a shape-shifting guy who is not him. So I'm not sure if he's a shapeshifter or maybe he's just, has elaborate makeup or something. Who knows? We will see. But yeah, like Dr. No's got a big time like Mandarin, Ming the Merciless, Fu Manchu kind of thing going on. Yeah, we also see James's car and riding a motorcycle on the bottom right, neither of which has been a thing in the game. But like I said, this artwork was not drawn for the game, so I'm sure it's just like generic kind of key art. Well, the thing I wanted to check in the manual is the what it had to say about the stages, but we can read up on some of the deets here. Yeah, the greatest weapons scientists from across the globe are being held prisoners by the evil Scum Lord. Intelligence reports indicate that they are incarcerated in his fortress island located somewhere in the Caribbean. Take charge as young James Bond Jr., ladies' man and all-around hero. Follow the orders of Colonel Monty on 4 separate yet deadly missions. So Colonel Monty, as far as I'm aware, does not exist in the show. But that's fine. You must first deactivate Scum Lord's missiles within their silos. We've done that. Next, infiltrate his complex where you'll need to crack open some safes to retrieve the stolen blueprints. We completed that too. Then it's off to the munitions factory to destroy the 6 machine chambers that comprise the world domination device. And in the final confrontation, you must rescue the captured scientist and stop Scumlord once and for all. What's up, Priestagen? Yes, we're continuing from... we're picking up from where we left off on Monday. We're just kind of catching up on some details here. Refreshing our memory. Yeah, so, you know, in the show, they go to this, like, boarding school, and on some episodes apparently they actually go like on school sanctioned field trips, but most of the time they just like decide that, you know what, we're gonna just fly to Hong Kong. There was I think the last episode we saw was about what was it called, Spy Man? There was this like series of spy movies starring Spy Man, and the daughter of the actor who plays Spy Man had just transferred to their school, and it was her like 16th birthday, and she was hoping that her dad would show up, but he didn't because he's so busy. He's always off in Hollywood making movies. And they were like, well, if he's not gonna come here, why don't we just go visit him? And I think in that episode, Phoebe, the chipmunk girl, was like, oh, I've got so many frequent flyer miles, I'll just take all of you to Hollywood. So there's like always some flimsy excuse or explanation as to how they just on a whim can just fly to anywhere in the world. And they just go on an adventure in Hollywood or Hong Kong or Egypt or Peru or wherever. And there's like a recurring theme is James Bond Jr. and his crew secretly sneaking out of school in order to go on their adventures. And this guy Travis, who's Trevor, I always forget his name, but he sucks. And his entire like thing is that aside from just being the worst, is that he's really adamant on narking on James and like telling on him and telling the principal that James has left the school premises without permission, but he always gets like, you know, always fails to provide any proper evidence. So like he is more of a villain than anyone else. But also like there's no one giving missions in the show. They just like sort of stumble into them. And it's a little weird that in the game this previously unseen Colonel Monty, like, well, we've got a crisis on our hands, and the first and only person we can call is this teenager at a school. Well, kid, you're just gonna have to go on a global secret spy mission. It's a little peculiar, and especially because if that was the premise of the show, then sure, but it's a little strange. He does appear to have infinite money, and he's also like the best at everything. Over the past couple of episodes, we learned that he is like, what, he's a super skilled sushi chef. He is he's fluent in Chinese. He can instantly learn how to fly a helicopter. I mean, he learned the game from his Uncle James. He earned that name, all right? I think it's all fair. It's all fair. Is Spock also in love with him? Not sure, but he does appear to have a new date every episode, pretty much. But anyway, let's get back to the manual. You start the game, that's fine. Oh, there's Scumlord. Alright, controls. Yeah, it's so weird that they describe, like, there's two modes of play. The first mode of play is normal mode, which is like the controls. The second mode of play is when you use a gadget that makes your controls a little bit different somehow. For instance, swimming underwater, or using a jetpack, or turning into a werewolf from drinking a werewolf potion. I forgot about that. And also the barrier item that gives you a shield, which is like pretty garbage. It says that he can ram enemies and take no damage. That's not really true. You can bump into enemies and get knocked back and not take any damage. But you cannot really achieve anything with it. But hopefully we'll get to become a werewolf on stage 3. I just need to check something real quick because it has just all right, cool. It has just been announced that the reveal of the next Mortal Kombat will be tomorrow at 6 a.m. Pacific, like daytime sometime tomorrow. Cool. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't like anything that we needed to watch right now. But that's cool. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Man, Friday's fighting game stream is going to be fucked because there's like Street Fighter 6 beta, and we will have seen the Mortal Kombat reveal. Although I'm sure the reveal that they're going to have now is probably just a CG thing that doesn't tell us much, and then probably we'll see the gameplay reveal maybe at Sony next week, or Jeff Keighley, or something like that. But anyway, yeah, breaking Mortal Kombat news. But yeah, there's not really much. There's not really much to look at or anything. So we're fine. We're fine. I'm gonna try to focus on the task at hand. Yeah, the werewolf potion is jetpack, scuba gear, shield. These are things that we might see in a Bond movie, but the werewolf potion, that I mean that's a direction to take to create a fresh new, vision of Bond following the Daniel Craig era. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Each level has a different goal. To achieve these goals, you must complete the sub-games within the levels. So, level 1, the sub-game is to disable the missiles. Level 2, the sub-game is to open the safes to recover the blueprints. And this description here was a little bit confusing, but I was able to figure it out just fine. And this is level 3 and 4 have no particular sub-games per se. Just destroy the factory rooms in level 3 and eliminate the boss characters guarding the scientists in level 4. Once you've completed the sub-games on a level, you will see a note to find the X, which is not exactly... well, whatever. Oh yeah, that's true. So in the first stage, after you complete all the missiles, Colonel Monty tells you to find the teleport. You find the teleport, but it's not the exit. It takes you to the boss fight where you have to fight a totem pole. So I was thinking like, all right, okay, cool. So every stage has a boss. Okay, it's a bit disappointing that the bosses aren't like the villains from the show, but all right. So on the second mission, you get all the blueprints, and then it says find the teleport. So I was like, all right, okay, boss fight. And then you go to the teleport, and the stage ends. Stage 2 just doesn't have a boss fight. So will 3 and 4 have boss fights at the end? Who knows? Also, I guess this is what I was thinking of before, that we have to eliminate the boss characters guarding the scientists to level 4. I have a feeling that I was definitely... it was full wishful thinking here, that these boss characters are going to be anything more exciting than the jetpack men and robots from stage 1 and 2. But we can hope. We can hope. And just all the weapons and all that, yeah. So I reckon, stage 2 didn't really have any new gadgets, or I think we collected scuba gear in stage 2, but there was no underwater section. So presumably stage 3 and 4, one of them will have the jetpack and the other will have the werewolf potion. Or maybe in stage 4 we'll just have everything, I don't know. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's all the information we need. So I think what we should do to reacquaint people here is we should start a new game so we see the opening of stage 1. We should reset and use the passwords to stage 2 so we can see the opening to stage 2, because the cutscenes are actually pretty sick. And then we're going to go to stage 3. Yeah, not only does it change sprites when you go underwater, when you equip the scuba equipment, even when you're walking around, he changes clothes. He starts wearing like a shirt and shorts, and he's got like all the scuba gear and everything, the snorkel. Even his like idle pose changes from when he's holding the gun to when he's got like a thrown weapon. There's a lot of cool little touches. The graphics are generally pretty great. Let me find my game window. There we go. So let's watch the opening. I'll start the timer. Scumlord. Yeah, so Scum is the name of the evil organization. It's funny that picture of James, that's like the dankest art in the entire game. That's Colonel Monty, I guess. There's some pretty fancy graphical effects going on too. Like, this is a late game. 92. So it makes sense that there's some pretty fancy stuff going on. Like, the kind of parallax effect here is simple enough, right? There's no baking of multiple layers or anything, but it still looks good. I'm going in. Saboteurs and criminals united in mayhem. That's a pretty powerful acronym. Oh yeah, we got like extremely floaty and weird jumps. But you'll see here, there's like, yeah, the parallax scrolling. It's like pretty cool. Gotta show the big dude. Yeah, so every enemy takes like 4 million hits. But whenever you die, you restart exactly where you died. Even when you continue, like, you literally start exactly from where you were standing. So basically, time is the only... And you have, like, infinite continues. So you're pretty incentivized to just push forward and not really care too much about getting hit. Like, getting tanked by that, that's fine. I don't know what the deal is with the enemies, but... Alright, so we do this. Yeah, you have to listen to that. The first one is very simple. Then it gets more complex. Does James Bond Jr. have a license to kill? I think that's covered by the don't ask, don't tell policy, but I'm not positive. Anyway, does this maybe reset? Nope, it doesn't. Does this maybe reset? Ah, there we go. So that's stage 1. Select to enter passcode. And 033481. Oh, wait, there's no 9. It just goes up to 8. Okay, sure. Once Scumlord learns of James's attempts to foil his plans, he tries to launch all his missiles. But James has already disabled the guidance systems. Well, I mean, in the show, he is a vigilante, right? He's not. He doesn't answer to anybody. I still have the world domination device. So that's what you're up to. Are they having a conversation with each other? Colonel, Scumlord has built some kind of super weapon. Or the world domination device. James, we know. Intelligence says that the blueprints have been hidden in safes in Scumlord's office complex. Just find them and get them to us as soon as you can. Be careful, James, there may be booby traps. Oh, little parallax. Like, this shit looks so good. Okay, Colonel. Look at the little animated smoke on the ashtray. There's like so many cool little details. And then at this stage, you have this like sort of maze navigation, but it's not so bad. And like when you get close to the doors like this, they become visible, and they even like the door frame casts a shadow on the wall. Like the visual presentation of this game is so cool. Can you like... Oh, I was like jumping made the projectile miss me. But then he moved position, so it would hit me. Anyway, yeah, so you gotta explore this place, find safes. Oh yeah, you can get you can get stun locked like that and just combo to death sometimes. But as you can see, I literally spawn exactly where I was. Just like totally whatever. Oh yeah, so killing that turret actually spawned the elevator there. It's a bit messed up. But yeah, so you can see that this stage, I thought that was 20 minutes. Maybe it's because I didn't look at the clock soon enough, but I guess 25. The first stage has a 45-minute time limit. So I wonder if is stage 3 going to have a 15-minute time limit? I guess we'll find out. So let's dig out the other password. 258600. Oh, Colonel, I'm flying back with the blueprints. Commandeering the helicopter? Sure. I mean, we know we can fly one. Oh no, I've run out of fuel. I'll have to crash land. Colonel, I'm okay. I found Scumlord's factory. Very convenient crash landing there. Oh yeah, we saw the first screen of this stage. This stage looks sick. Find and destroy all the parts. Look at this shit. I don't think this is doing anything. New music on each stage too. Alright, 35 minutes. Looks pretty linear so far. Oh, that lightning bolt effect looks pretty good. Melting platforms. These, nope, okay. Can I stand? Oh yeah, okay. I'm being accosted by some kind of robotic garlic. Oh yeah, so enemies don't respawn. Which is kind of interesting. I'll just have to tank that, I guess. Wait, hang on. Could I? Oh, I need to destroy the turret because it's probably gonna spawn something else. Sure, I'll take that death. Did it? Ah, no, there's a blue switch thing. Yeah, that destroys all turrets, I think. Oh, all enemies. Got a bomb. I like the picture. Oh yeah, there's the other platform. Oh yeah, there's fall damage in this game. I actually had forgotten about that. So the picture of those little gears on the top right, that's like shows you a picture of whatever the objective is. So I guess the gears there indicate machines. Like on the previous stage, it was like the rolled up blueprints. Stage 1 is the missile. What is that? Oh, that's the jetpack. Oh, look at him. He's even wearing it. That is pretty sick. Yeah, what's up, Mr. Radon? Cool out of 10. Pretty cool. Oh, it doesn't automatically recover. So I gotta be a little judicious about its use here. Okay, it looks like we need it here. Whoa, okay. The stages are like sort of non-linear, but not like annoyingly, terribly maze-like for the most part. Okay, there's a little switch over there. Probably just use the gun, that would be easier. It would have been smart to do that before I kill the other guy, but that's fine. So you take, you have limited ammo, but up to 20 rounds, the pistol just recharges. Oh! Wait, was that a... Is that a conveyor belt or did I just... Oh, it is! Oh no, it's ice! Okay, it's conveyor ice. Fuck, okay. I died from fall damage, actually. Which is neat, because I have to restart here. Oh, fuck, I missed the jump button. Okay, there's platforms at least. I'm worried about the time waste, but this level does seem a little trickier and more complex than the last one. I'm gonna hope that... Are you serious? There There we go. But that would spawn something else? Oh, wait. Oh, maybe it altered the trajectory of this thing. I don't think it went up like this before. I don't know if it matters, but damage boosting is a little bit weird in this game. You always bounce back relative to the direction you're facing. But you can bump into walls, which will change your direction. My pistol ammo. Oh, okay. Machine room. Destroy everything here, I guess. Yeah, it's like, just tank the damage, I guess, because avoiding anything is just takes time. Oh, the slowdown. A lot of bombs. Let's do that. Oh. Alright. Well done! You've disabled the machine room. Nice. Got a little burger for our trouble and some pistol ammo. Nice. Scumlord cyberizing these henchmen. I'm not even sure what he does. Oh. Okay, there's a flare. Yep. I don't know why I bothered picking that up. Like, that item, stuns enemies. As the manual explains, it has no effect on enemies who are wearing goggles. It also includes certain, like, robots and whatnot. Only works on enemies with actual exposed human eyeballs. Cyber ones and dines them. Sure, checks out. But yeah, so crouching down and standing up, like, takes time. So you can't, like, instantly go from standing to crouching. Oh, shit. Meltable platforms that are also shootable. You know what? Fuck it. Oh, they'd already fully melted. I thought they were still standable. Respawn if I... back. Enemies not respawning is, like, extremely civilized. Oh, shit, I see. Oh, okay. Almost damage boosted me up there. It's gonna help me with momentum. Nope, not really. Oh, I guess I need to jetpack it. Oh, that doesn't work. I don't know what dropping that down would take me. So I guess I'm meant to use the jetpack, but we can just do that. No! Oh, we could. Oh, I could have just... okay. If you hold the jump button, you get damage boosted higher, which is pretty funny. Level seems pretty big, given that we've only gotten to one machine room as of yet. Can't hit those guys, can I? Well, we're gonna be able to jetpack up there. Need be. There's a ladder? Yeah. Yeah, the lives and everything. Like, short answer, yeah. There's no real, like, danger, I guess. Just remarkably generous, you know. Wait, are those two 1-ups? I think they are. You're literally just concluded. Don't matter. So, oh, machine room 2. It's so sick, like the different background music. So many projectiles, so much slowdown. Honestly, I don't think I need to bother with those. Continue. Yes. I was secretly a little bit worried that it might be different. On later stages, but at least for this one, we seem to be fine. But yeah, the enemy, like, you get killed a lot faster in this stage. I am playing very carelessly, but I was kind of doing that previously as well. Oh boy, this is gonna be obnoxious. Having actual limited lives here would be... Oh boy. The jumps or float is just like really difficult. There we go. Okay. Oh, there we go. I was gonna say, I'm gonna need to land on solid ground before Colonel Monty congratulates us. It was too hard, but I didn't have time to rebalance it. Well, I don't even know if it's a matter of time. It's more like... they didn't just say fuck it. They just like, there you go. Have some infinite continues on the house. Why not? Oh boy. I've been here before. This stage is like, feels a lot more maze-like. Even the first one was more sprawling than stage 2, but didn't really have like a bunch of split paths. Bomb's a pretty good weapon because it does more damage, so you kill stuff with it quicker. I thought I had another... Can't change. Sucks. Okay, I wasn't sure what was up here. That was basically a total waste. But the thing is, like, you can expend all of your jetpacks, so it sort of makes sense that this game's not going to require you to actually use it. Well, I don't have 100, so let's grab the bomb. I guess stage 4 is gonna offer us the werewolf potion. Makes sense that the jetpack's in, like, the cyber tech factory stage. Oh, new enemy type. Boss character, whatever you classify this as. There's, like, a pretty impressive variety in enemies. Not that you, like, fight them very differently, but just visually. Oh, okay. That's the full screen nuke. Wow, holy shit. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. Wait. That's the exit, right? James, you haven't disabled all of the machine rooms yet. Okay, well, there's the exit. That's good to know. But we missed 4 rooms. But the nuke's gonna be good in those rooms. It's gonna make stuff easier. Make a good speed game. Yeah, we were both talking about the TAS, I think. It was like 18 minutes. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of like precise platforming. Oh, I guess you can just get up here without the jetpack too. Just double check. And in the tasks, stage 1 I think accounted for 8 minutes out of 18. Red looks so peculiar. Can I get up here? That was not smart. Because there was nothing else to explore down there, right? I don't think there was. Like, I want to jump as close to the edge as I can, but just do that. Yeah, the time you would lose for like doing this carefully is, you know, worse than the life you'd lose. Yeah, I don't think we went here. No, wait, that's where we came from. Here's where the jetpack dude was. Well, I melted the platform, so I gotta respawn them. I didn't go up here, but let me just double check. You know what? I'm gonna have to come back here to get the exit anyway, so there might be a hidden room there, but let's... The big dude. Actual damage mitigation strat. Oh, big pile of burgers. But it's not going to give us much health, because each of them I think is 1. Oh, okay. We got 4 pips of health for 3 burgers. Whatever that adds up to. I love that each room is like different colored. So it kind of makes sense that the machine room we got, the last one we got, is like the last one, because it was like the hardest. Because you could definitely tell in the missiles in stage 1 that they were kind of, the puzzles to disable them were escalating in difficulty. Yeah, we're done. Okay. Let's continue backtracking, because I'm pretty sure I missed something. Like, did I go left here? Well, I guess, yes, sort of. Did I go left here? I think that was the first machine room. Yeah. What's up, Track Zero? Journey to Silius vibes. Yeah, I think there's like, I mean, it's like, the Euro Silius, maybe. But no, I mean, it's absolutely true. Like, you can see, looking at some like Eurocom or like software creation stuff, we came from the ice platform there, I think. Yeah, but there might be a path to the right up here. That there's usually kind of a pretty elaborate animation and stuff. Like, I'm thinking of Terminator 2, for example, which, if I'm not mistaken, is a software creations joint. Got Tim Fallon music anyway. And that also has these, like, weirdly well-animated little characters. I mean, you can make some comparisons to some rare stuff, too, like the use of color. It doesn't have like the excessive blacks of something like Batman, or maybe even Power Blade or what have you. I'm not like super, I haven't played Silius all that much, so I wouldn't like have detailed knowledge to compare them, I suppose. But I guess I'm just going into this with this like mindset that this is a highly European experience, that I wouldn't really think to make that comparison. But you know, now that you mention it, like, yeah, I can see it. It's not really off base. Oh, Hollow Pad looks good with the gray and red. You know what? Fuck it. Where'd I find the gun? I don't have any bombs left, so... Continue game, yes. Literally spawn right here. Well done, you've disabled a machine room. Xanadu I have a little more trouble seeing, but I probably haven't played that game since the early 90s. I guess I would be hung up just on the obvious thematic difference. Unless I just didn't get far enough into that game. And there's cyber factory bases in that game too, but I don't think so. What's down here? I think we came from here. Something about the weirder enemies. Whoops, this is basically going back to the beginning, but that's fine. 16 minutes left. I think this is the first room, right? Yeah. You gotta like expertly combine low damage boosts and high damage boosts to not bounce off in like an awkward way. Yeah, I'm not like particularly well versed in Eurocom stuff either, but I understand they have a pretty good reputation for especially like impressive games. Like, not saying their games are bad or, you know, not fun or whatever, but maybe more like sort of technically impressive than fun, if it's between one or the other. But I believe this only leads to the first. Yeah, I can think of one path that we didn't go to. I suppose it's possible that it has both remaining machine rooms in it. Yeah, I need to play Chaos Bleeds because it's interesting. For a long time, I was under the impression that the first Buffy game was very well regarded and Chaos Bleeds, the second one, was not very well regarded. And I have the first one. I remember really liking it. But I think I was having a conversation about it with Goaty because he was playing the Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance Buffy games, and like both he and I were like a little bit sort of confused about which was which. And looking it up, I think, like, if I recall correctly, I found that they were actually kind of, at least in terms of sort of Metacritic scores and whatnot, they were like in a pretty similar range. Okay. So maybe it was just like, maybe I just had the perception that one was liked and one was not. But maybe that was not the prevailing, you know, maybe it was just one view, and, you know, maybe a lot of people actually did prefer the second one. I just wanted to see if there was one other path. Yeah, because going up here should take me towards the end of the stage, I think. Alright, skillful avoidance. Chaos Bleeds came out on more stuff, and first one was... Yeah, because the first one was only on Xbox, as I recall. I mean, that could swing both ways, right? It could mean that more people play the second one, so more people liked it. It could also be that more people played it, so you heard more people be unhappy with it. Or it's just like the first game might have built some sort of reputation for being this elusive, cool, good game that people didn't get to play. All these things are possible. Every goddamn time. Yeah, like, I guess it's just like the way I remembered it. One was thought of as really good, and the other one was thought of as like really kind of disappointing and mediocre. But if that's the case, like that did not seem to be reflected in the kind of meta review scores that I were able to find. If my recollection of even that is accurate. Okay, I'm wasting a lot of time here, but my sense of direction is pretty poor, so I need to kind of double check. But at least I know there's one. Well, obviously we haven't completed, like, to explore the level fully. It is worth mentioning that the first stage has a fantasy wall, a fantasy floor, but it is pretty. You're kind of railroaded to it pretty clearly, so hopefully, if something similar appears in this stage, it's not something mega arcane that's like really easy to miss. But that sure would be one way to escalate the difficulty. I think it would be kind of interesting, like, again, as far as like speed strats, to kind of figure out like how to use the jetpack, for example. Obviously I could just jetpack up here. In fact, I might. If we charge up to... Nah, surely it doesn't. Did I drop down there? I don't think I did. Aha! That's like pretty hidden. Not like secret, but... I mean, there's no like death pits. So like you might as well. It's so cool that each of the machine rooms is like a different color. You know, I was kind of making fun of it a little bit in the manual, saying like, oh, so stage 3 doesn't even have a minigame. But like, these things are fucking way cooler than the minigames. Yeah, I'm firing slower because I have to wait for my bullets to recharge. Oh, okay. Do I have a... Ooh, time. Wait, did I didn't think the bomb killed it in one hit, but I guess it just took a while to die. Okay, but I'm pretty sure I know there was like some other diverging path on the way to the exit. Nicely warmly toasted there. There's just items up there. Oh, I could have maybe jumped over there. Okay. I guess we're redoing stage 3. But it should be faster this time. We should be pretty much guaranteed to clear it in one go. That's interesting. I don't really mind, because I was feeling like the game was kind of... It's like mixed feelings. On the one hand, I'm happy to not have to grind an impossible game and just be able to enjoy it and get through it. But I was also like, man, the game's kind of going by a little fast. But I mean, that's one way to get around that. we get to enjoy more of this sweet slow jam. I'm not gonna waste time killing that jerk.
Unspeakable horror awaits you.
Track 0 with 13 months of unspeakable horror. I'm trying to speak. Failing. Year 1 crushed onto year 2. Thank you very, very much. Let's hit that little switch over there. Boom. Automatic. Oh, I can just jump up there. Okay, speed strats. Bombs. Okay, that's good. Jetpack. It's a pretty funny icon. It looks like a... what's the word? Acorn? Looks like a little acorn. Kind of weird, like it seems like you have to jetpack here. Oh, sorry, you can shoot fireballs with your jetpack and it wastes jetpack fuel. I forgot about that. Fuel is surprisingly limited. I mean, not that you need it that much, but I feel like they could have given you a lot more. And it would have been like a bigger sort of gimmick for the stage. Wait, what? Oh well. It's gonna be the interesting part, like to see if I actually remember where each of the machine rooms are and how to get them in order. Did I just absorb? Oh, that's right. I was gonna say that I absorbed the burger, but I think all the items. Okay, Windows just alt tab for me. Thank you very much. Items always spawn with that little bouncing animation. So I just happened to be standing right above it and it bounced into me. Alas, James Bond Jr. has yet to evolve burger absorbing powers. Go. Oh, I missed a burger, but that's fine. I seem like the burger guy. Oh. He's a child. Okay, so going up there does take me to the latter part of the stage, right? So I believe there is one more machine room here. I just want to not fall down into this pit. I literally just did all this, which I guess maybe is why I'm confused, but I feel like I should know this by now. Don't want to fall down there. But I think there's probably something over to the right. Like there's got to be something more on this part of the stage, like up here. Pretty satisfying. The ladder climbing sprite looks a lot goofier than anything else. Although I will say that, like, Junior's sprite is... I mean, it's fine, it's adequate. It's really cool that he changes his equipment, like, on the sprite. But it's still, I think, like, the probably least visually impressive and exciting graphic in the game, pretty much. Yeah, there we go. If you accidentally tap up, he'll just start facing the background. Alright, just tank it. Blood, sausage, and beans. I don't know. I don't know. Is he quite that British? Keep in mind, he's like fake British. I mean, not like canonically in the fiction. Still. I don't know that the writers of the show would be capable of making him quite that British. Right, so I believe we are now ready to advance. the latter parts of the stage. Gotta remember, as I enter the next screen, try to jump immediately. First time! Not falling into the annoying extra pit. I'm just like thinking of how annoying this would be if you actually had limited lives and had to like redo stages after death, or continues at least. Like, I'm not gonna climb up there to get the flash. Just gonna make it more tedious to cycle through weapons. And it's like not that useful anyway. So I believe we go up there to advance. Yeah, you can't drop down through platforms. Yes, progress like is swift. Ah, this isn't the way to the end, is it? So annoying. Oh my god, it just despawn, you know what, fuck it. No, because I had to go down here. There's a machine room in that spot, but there should be one more at the end of this. Because I'm pretty sure this is not the way to the exit. Is it? Now I'm starting to think it actually is. I think it is. Yeah, you can't turn around while crouching either. Or is this where I was dropping down when it crashed last? Oh my god, I'm getting so confused about the damn level layouts. I'm gonna try to speed through this. And like clearing out some of these dudes is gonna make it go faster to go back through here next time. But it's not exactly wasted time. Diamond. I think... Yeah, there's the exit in this screen right here. Okay. Ah, nicely melted. Oh, thank... Oh, wow, it even killed me. Alright, I should be fine now, though. Impressive amount of iframes on respawn there. I think it's all just items up here. And there's 4 rooms, has me a little troubled. Well, I could use the bombs. Because there's obviously the little pit room. And then going off to the other branch, like I could see there being 2 rooms there, but 3? But I also felt like on the last attempt that I got to a point where it's like, yeah, it'd be good. Alright, there's one in here. There we go. Oh yeah, and this is like the fucked up one. It makes sense. This is like closest to the exit, so this is the quote-unquote last room. So there's this room, the pit room, and then 2 more. That seems a little more reasonable. I'll stand here to make sure. Okay, it didn't hit all of them. Or at least they didn't all flash. But that thing went down surprisingly fast. What I did before. Yeah, there we go.
Well done. You've disabled a machine boom.
Ammo, thank you. Alright, so a little bit of backtracking up here. Even though it's kind of cool, the jetpack dudes are firing little fireballs, the same sprite. And when you have it. I'm getting pretty good at like turning around last second to damage boost the correct way off of lightning bolts. It's like not the most complex animation. It's like, I guess, mostly color cycling. I'm not sure, but it still looks really fucking good. I don't remember. I guess we haven't gone to it part. The wherever it was where it spawned like 4 nukes. It would have been helpful to get that before this, but that's fine. At least this isn't like terribly difficult or tedious. Well, this one might be. Doing those like minimum height jumps is actually kind of difficult. Oh, I got it. Nice. You can delay the kernel's message by continuing to jump. Can I skip it altogether? Oh, I think I skipped it. Speed tech. Pretty sick. Got the kernel skip. A little like more than 50 bullets. You know what? I'm not going to take the shield. It's not even useful. It's just going to make inventory management more annoying. Okay, now I'm actually a little perplexed. Because now I have no idea where the last one is. I thought wherever I was going would lead me to 2 rooms, but it led me to this. We're done, right? Yeah. So the path to the exit, i.e. to the right here, surely will not have more. Destroying this thing would be good because I can actually stand here then. This is like the first one we got, I think. This is back to the beginning of the stage. The annoying pit here. We have 22 minutes. I think we'll be okay. I'm just confused. That's okay. I didn't mean to fall down, but double checking that there isn't some fantasy wall or something down here. Oh, wait! Dude, this is fucking well hidden. That's fucked up too, because I'm not even sure if that's even accessible without bombs. So in the first stage, you have to actually make the teleporter appear. You have to, like, there's a room at the very end where you destroy everything in the room to make it spawn. And the room is, like, split in half, so you have to, like, go around in 2 different paths to get to everything. And then, like, so it's harder to get the teleport. And then once you get to it, there's still a boss fight on the other end of it. But on stage 2, you get to it and it's just there. And you just clear the stage. So I wonder the case is here. I'm not expecting a boss fight, but you never know. If we get to one, we got 20 minutes to tank it, so we should be fine. Hoping I could duck under it, but alas. Go up here. Yeah, this is a pretty fun game. I'm enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would. Even if I'm, like, arguably not exactly playing as intended. There's cool vibes. You know what? Probably not gonna use this all that much more, am I? Try that again. Yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying myself with it, and I can, like, you know, it's more of a sightseeing kind of a thing as opposed to, like, a, enjoying the challenge of it. But it's fine. Like, some games, I'm super into the challenge of it. You know, I'm obviously just, like, playing this in a very silly way. But the alternative would be significantly more frustrating. I don't think I ever got all those nukes. Oh, maybe it's maybe it's the guy in the ship at the end that has the nukes. And if those carry over to the next stage, that's actually pretty useful. Potentially. Playing it the way most kids would have. Yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean, of course, aside from the fact that I don't put a lot of focus on, or emphasis on, like, the challenge completionist kind of aspect to begin with. Like stuck in a loop, just firing too many bullets. Yeah, there we go. Like, as a general kind of principle, playing games in general, that's not usually what I gravitate to the most. There we go. New passcode. Timer's stuck, by the way. I don't know why it keeps crashing. Does anyone know how long this has been stuck? I looked over at some point, but I don't remember. But we've been playing for about an hour-ish. Let's see. All right, let me restart it. I need to fucking get a new timer software. This is like giving me way too much trouble. Way too frequently. I feel like somehow it's gotten even worse on my new PC. Timer stopped about 13. And what was the timer at when I shut it down? It was at like 227 or something, right? Yeah, so let's just start at 240. A nice and even number. That's close enough, right? Yeah, thank you for the assistance. Appreciate it. Passcode to start on mission 4 is 320 370. Alright, what's the intro to the final stage? Curses, I'll have my revenge. James, now you must find and release the scientists. Okay, Colonel. Then I've got a personal score to settle. I understand, James. Wait, what? Intelligence says that the fortress is impenetrable. We'll see about that. I'll find a way in, Colonel. Oh! Searching, James finds a flaw in the security. Entrance to a disused mine shaft. Paralyzed, that's so cool. Are we gonna become a werewolf? music. It's pretty cool. Oh, a little icon, little scientist. 30 minutes. All right, so maybe this is a shorter level or it's harder. Once we have the route and everything, and I guess we didn't even really have the full route on the second attempt. Like, we still cleared stage 3 with a lot of time to spare. I mean, we did time over on the stage 1 on our first attempt on the boss, but that was me fucking around, spending a lot of time not even knowing what I was doing. So I'm not really too concerned about that being much of an issue. All right, let's do it. Let's find some scientists. Oh, that's okay. It's full on Amiga faucet. Not even droplets. Seems like a somewhat silly thing to get too excited about. But it's cool that we have like unique like music on each stage. Like, yeah, 4 stages, 4 songs. That's not, you know, hardly super impressive. But, you know, for a British platformer, having one, like, stage theme and one cinematic theme would not be too crazy. Holy shit. Giant wasp firing bullets at me. I shot it 48 times. 47 times. There we go. And it didn't die. Looks like the damage carried over, though. I bet they're sensitive to stun, however. They got big eyes, and a whole bunch of them. Okay, we got some splitting paths. It's all like insects in this stage, I guess. There's slime pouring out of the wall. We got some kind of caterpillar up there. Oh, little scientist. Oh, so I guess that's the boss protecting him, huh? Quite as exciting as I would have hoped. Oh, look, he's waving at us. We just got a potion, guys. Well done, you've rescued a scientist. The werewolf can jump higher and slash at enemies. What if we have a full-on saber wolf transformation? That would be pretty sick. I'm not expecting it. All right, so I wonder... Okay, I have to actually activate the potion. Let's save it. Let's hold on to it for a little bit. Holy shit! Okay, we got full-on guts monsters. We got fucking Quadu up there. What the... Like, fucking unhinged Euro developers. More potion. Okay, let's do it. The little drink animation. Oh my god. Oh, you press B to run. I don't think I can actually hurt him, though. Oh, I can just swap out of it. Okay, that's good. Fuck it. Oh, I tried to nuke. Wait, it didn't work? Well, when I say unhinged Euro developers, I guess I'm mostly thinking of these guys, as well as the Virgin team that made the Game Gear Double Dragon game, where you fight evil, hypnotized Jimmy Lee in a full-on fucking Giger wall, screen-sized boss room. I mean, obviously the room is screen-sized, but like there's a full-on screen-sized boss in the background. And then after you destroy the alien face, evil samurai Jimmy Lee emerges. This is kind of a tricky jump. I don't have any jetpack left over, do I? Do I need to werewolf jump to get up here? I think I might. A little peculiar. I wonder if enemies respawn. That's a cool looking effect. Okay, that looks like a destructible wall. Okay, we got aliens pooping rocket eggs. Oh shit, you can stand on these things. Wait, did I just like permanently disable them? That's not good. There we go. Not permanently, just for a while. High levels of mystery and intrigue in this stage. Okay. Turns out insects are not, in fact, susceptible to stun. You cannot swap weapons while in midair. Well, extra life, thank you. Okay, let's climb down here first. Alright, got fucking abominable snowmen. Okay, this is quite the stage. I just realized there were quite a few scientists. We already rescued like 3, I think, right? And there's 6 left. A lot of objectives. Like, Game Gear Double Dragon is a pretty decent game. I wouldn't say that it's like phenomenal or anything, but it's fine. Not the best, not the worst as far as Double Dragon games go. But it's like utterly unhinged in terms of like, I mean, yeah, it's got the Giger alien shit, but beyond that, like you get a gun like immediately and just like shoot people to death. Like it's very odd. Like you go to this big farmhouse and you fight like a big guy with like a chainsaw. It's kind of weird, you might say. Yeah, like the guns, I almost pressed B, aren't necessarily a major component in the game, but the fact that they're in there and like the first thing you see, there's like a certain level of, I mean, it's not like that it has full-on blood and gore, but there's like something about it that feels a little less sort of cartoony or sort of stylized, or whatever word you'd use for it, like the violence you'd expect in a game like Double Dragon. But it seems like you can't shoot. Well, maybe if I just... Nope. Like, I'm not positive how I'm gonna get... Well, maybe I can nuke him. I think I have a couple now, right? See, he does walk all the way over to the ladder. But as soon as I jump up to his level, he starts walking towards me. I have to, like, time the jump. Alright, if nothing else, trying to use the nuke is research, right? But actually even just making this jump is kind of tricky, so let's make sure to use it while I'm up there. So I don't... Well, actually, if I kill them, they shouldn't respawn. You never know. Okay, that worked. Ooh, potion. Nice, okay. That worked out. So I shouldn't have to come back down here again. Let's go to the right. Oh! I'm taking these guys out pretty quickly. Well, rescuing the... we're not taking out the scientist, but... I like the honeycomb background, by the way. Yeah, I think any hope that this game would suddenly become more tied into the lore and aesthetics of the show were rather misplaced. It's still cool in its own right, you know, but it's just funny because I was like, part of me was hoping or thinking that maybe it would, like, maybe they would put more of the stuff from the show in the final stage. But it's like rather the opposite of like, oh, he's gonna drop another potion, isn't he? Yeah. I didn't even despawn because I died. Where like the last stage is the fully unhinged shit. And like, you know, that's not... if you're gonna do that, then like, yeah, that's a reasonable place to do that, the final stage and everything. But because I was so sort of ready and kind of, in a way, hoping for more stuff from the show, it just caught me off guard more. Oh yeah, the Moai head. These guys were in stage 1. In stage 1, you can literally just run past them. You know what? Like, why don't you just use these? But there might be more abominable snowmen. Oh, we got scuba gear. Shit, so I probably do have to go down there. I mean, I should check, right? There's 3 of them left. No sign of the exit yet, but... Well, we took care of the snow guys, so assuming they don't somehow respawn now. Yeah, we're fine. So I think in the first stage, which is the only stage with swimming so far, parts where there's like actual diveable water, the water kind of looked a little bit more transparent. Oh, there's our summer vacation outfit. But yeah, there we go. You can shoot bubbles, but it depletes your oxygen supply, so... we can spend some... Can I? There we go. At least, like, taking damage doesn't waste air or whatever. Oh, fuck. Okay, that's right. I was gonna say, oh yeah, dying, you have to restart from before you dove in, but technically you restart from the last place you touched oxygen. Visuals here look really nice, though, I have to say. Alright, let's just grab a quick respawn position here. Kind of funny too, like as soon as you take off your scuba gear, the water is like instantly painful. And it reels back in pain from just touching the surface. Nice, more bombs. Okay, I've rescued a scientist, 2 more to go. Good thing I was able to... Oh yeah, I didn't start with 99. Good thing I got the scuba stuff pretty close, so I didn't have to like travel really far and try to remember where it was. This is definitely harder than this diving section in stage 1 because there's a lot, like all these little corridors are much narrower. Obviously you can't really avoid anything. Okay, there's stuff to the right, but let me... Shit, I shouldn't have... Ah, fuck it, you know what? I was thinking there would be an air pocket there. So there's presumably a scientist somewhere at the end of wherever this leads. Probably surface here? Yep. Oh, nice. I wasn't expecting landing on top of that. They're like perfectly aligned to just miss every bullet. Well, for him to miss every bullet, rather. Nice. Okay, 22 minutes, 1 scientist. Man, I was just mentioning what it feels like 5 seconds ago that there were so many of them. We're just like getting them all like that. Is this gonna be the fastest stage? Bombs work on this guy. They don't. Interesting. Oh boy. Oh, you can. Interesting. Yeah, I wanted to check if these guys were susceptible to lycanthropy, and I guess they were. Okay. I don't know if that's how you say that word, but that's fine. Werewolfism. Close enough. Excellent, excellent. This is so funny, by the way. I'm somehow not recharging my oxygen. I have to actually dive into the water, and I guess I have to suck oxygen through my snorkel from underwater to replenish my oxygen supply. I mean, that makes sense. Hydro-powered scuba gear. Well, sort of, but it is oxygen fueled, but only when submersed. But we didn't find it. Oh, of course, they didn't get any oxygen on the way. Respawn all the way over there. We didn't find the exit yet or anything either, so whatever one path we have yet to take is basically most likely going to contain both the final scientist as well as the exit. So we kind of ended up routing this about as well as we could, I think. It's not full, you know, Saber Wolf or anything, but the fact that he actually drinks the potion and then there's a little animation like transitioning into the werewolf, that's it's pretty good. Yeah, we didn't go up there. Okay, big dude. Okay, the elevator does go up pretty high. Yeah. Oh, wait. Yeah, okay. Barriers. Oh, there's the exit. Okay, okay, good to know. Okay, we should kind of be on the lookout, I guess, for more breakable walls and floors, because there might be... Oh yeah, I probably didn't go up here, did I? Oh, yeah, here we are. Wow, this stage was really straightforward. I guess we're about to beat the game? Or will there... Is stage 1 really the only stage that's gonna have a boss fight? Or will we get to face off against Scumlord? I mean, in the show, right? Because it's like all syndication and whatever, this show doesn't actually have an ending. So as far as I'm aware, at least, like from reading some episode synopses, I didn't, like, I was out of curiosity. I remember checking what the synopsis was for like the final episode, for the last couple or whatever, and none of them seemed to imply anything about Scum being permanently stopped or the Scumlord being apprehended or anything like that. So maybe just in the spirit of the show, Scumlord just kind of, you know, maybe not gets away, but, you know, it's like, I'll get you next time, young Bond. And, well, I mean, there's the Super Nintendo game. So maybe he'll get his revenge then. Okay, let's see. Is this the exit? Are we done with the game? Oh, boss fight. Okay, good. Okay, this looks pretty good. Okay. Is that his little head with a little hat in there? I think that's Scumlord's little head. Lob some bombs up there. I guess the pink parts are vulnerable. Oh! True game over on the final boss? Bad luck, James. Maybe you'll do better next time. I really did not think that it would do this. Because this is what you get when you time over. God damn. Well, okay. This changes everything. Because, okay. If I use the password to stage 4, I get there with what, like 6 lives? I think you start with 6 lives. But obviously, throughout the stage, I can continue as many times as I want. So I guess that doesn't really matter. I just have to make sure to die in game over as late as I can, and I'll have 6 lives to tank the boss. Which, having spent most of the game not even, you know, paying attention to how many times I'm dying, I don't know how comfortably that's gonna like get me through it. I will save all of the nukes that I might pick up. Like, let's make sure to try and farm, like, you know, spend a little werewolf juice to kill the abominable snowmen, for example. And see, because we got, I mean, we ended up having a couple of nukes, and I don't recall if they came from, like, the jetpack didn't carry over, so I don't know that any of the weapons actually carry over between stages. If they do, you would maybe hope that the password would keep track of your weapons, but I don't think a 6-digit password would necessarily keep track of all my weapons. Well, tell you what, guys, I'm gonna take a short break, and I'll ponder our current situation here. But I think if we game over right before the boss and can continue from there, and we make sure to have like nukes and whatever, like I think we have an okay shot. And the stage was, you know, quick enough that I don't really mind redoing it. But if I'm gonna have to do it over and over, I'm gonna probably lose patience, and maybe we'll like drop a save state just to see if we can get to see what the ending is. Because like having sort of breezed through the game and having had fun with it, normally I wouldn't be too, like, if a game was impossible, I don't feel any shame in giving up and saying, all right, let's just take a look and see what we can find and see if we can see a playthrough or the ending, and we can move on. But getting to what I assume is the literal final boss doesn't feel great to have to give up there. But hopefully we won't have to. We will try. It could be that the game, like, it could be that we have limited credits and the game just doesn't communicate that. Because I probably game overed more in this, you know, at least if we count from starting stage 3, we game overed way more times than I've done in one playthrough last stream, right? So maybe you just have like 10 continues or something, and we used all of them when I game overed, and it just coincidentally happened to be during my first game over at the final boss. And if that's the case, just starting over at stage 4 should be enough to get there. There's a few different options, or, you know, possibilities. The thing is, though, like, if we have limited lives on the boss fight, just dodging all of the shit to like survive through the fight, that could be a real challenge. We might have that challenge that I was talking about, feeling pretty good about not having. We'll see. We'll make another attempt at this right after this break. Let's fade out these jams, get some other stuff going, and I'll see you guys in a little bit. right, I returned. So let us some audio back from the game. And all right, let's just jump into level 4. For select, I have to re-enter the password. 320370, and we're good to go. So the strat is to pretty much play as normal and make sure we enter the boss room with as many lives and nukes as we can. I also like that the dialogue here in the mission briefing is pretty unambiguous about James. Well, he frames it as he has a personal score to settle with Scumlord, which I find hard to interpret in any other way than James Bond Jr. fully intending to kill the Scumlord, and Colonel Monty is like, gotta do what you gotta do, just can't be helped. Sometimes you just gotta murder someone. It's, you know, sometimes unavoidable in this line of work. Which is a little weirdly understanding, I would say. Yeah, so like trying to fully avoid getting killed on this stage to save lives. I mean, I guess the time isn't like a super tight factor. But even so, like, that does not feel like a realistic strategy. So I will not even honestly entertain that thought until we have concluded that the current idea of how we want to approach this is not going to work. I guess we go left here first. Scientist down here, I think. Alright, I tried to crouch, but sure. Doing that, like, minimum height jump is, like, weirdly difficult. Alright, werewolf juice. Alright. Couldn't get the Colonel skip, but that's fine. Can I even hit the worm with the gun? Only on a very specific frames of its animation. That's, like, kind of funny. Only with very strict spacing. You die so quickly in this stage. Well, that was not worth it. I'm pretty sure that, yeah, damage you inflict on enemies also accumulate and like stack between lives, which is nice. And yeah, we know from stage 1 that wait, okay, I just realized I don't know if I ever saw that frame of animation before. I don't think I realized you can actually shoot from ladders. Okay, we're done here. Let's go up. And I believe up here is where have the breakable wall on the right. Did I need a werewolf jump here? I must have, yeah. And waste that. Just clear up the inventory. Yeah, because the exit is up here, I'm pretty sure. It's not up there, is it? No, I'm pretty sure it's not. Although I don't remember exactly where I get the scuba gear. I just want the one up, okay? Here we go. It could conceivably be... Wait, no, I think the exit is up here, actually. Remember this jump. Yeah. Okay, it is. That means we should go to the left here first, because that means there's a scientist up here. At least one. Like, there's no point in deliberately making myself backtrack past the exit. Like, every enemy having these, like, homing bullets. A bit much. Pretty tanky worm. Ooh, I should make sure that yeah, I shouldn't spend bombs, honestly, even if this is a little more tedious. Because it looks like I need bombs on the boss. I'm not really sure how I'm gonna hit the boss otherwise. Okay, so 5 scientists left. There's the 2 underwater. I don't think there was any more breakable blocks than this, right? There's the exit up there. Tricky jump. Oh, I didn't mean to waste bombs. I'm sure we'll get a few more bombs before all is said and done. Oh, this is not a bad spot. Take a bullet here and there, but... Oh yeah, I could stand up. Maybe hit a few more. Right, there's the scuba gear. Nice, we don't have to backtrack around. So this is down to the snowmen. Oh, not quite. Okay. There we go, they're there. There's another scientist room here? Yeah. Oh shit, I didn't see the mine. Getting comboed by every enemy. But I will say this, like, even if the knockback is pretty severe and can be a little annoying to deal with, you know, the fact that there's knockback, you know, some might argue that's unexpectedly civilized for a Euro platformer. Ah, still no bombs. Well, not the worst knockback, but also the alternative would be getting melted by everything, which, I mean, based on how this game works, kind of would be preferable. Okay. All right, let's. Oh, oh, dude, unique werewolf fall damage animation. Pretty good. All right, the post-death burger. All right, so there's 2 scientists. Yeah, I think there's 1 scientist on the top right, and there's 2 underwater. A little concerned that we haven't gotten a single nuke. Makes me think that the ones we had last time actually did carry over from the previous stage, which wasn't a thing I necessarily thought was a thing. Because I sure would like to have those for the boss fight. So ridiculous, like, to waste a third of your oxygen supply to kill 1 enemy. And those giant bubbles will hurt me, by the way, and I can't avoid it. But it's not like it's draining the mean, like, all right, can you, like, every time, like, you're standing inside of a thing that melts you, I didn't get new air. Like, the rate at which you take damage isn't uniform. Some things kind of melt you faster than others. I think, I guess. I don't even really know. I guess it's more that, like, even though it's nice bombs, it looks like you're, like, because normally you're used to kind of bumping and just taking hits one at a time. But when something melts you like that, it feels like you're getting hit for the same amount of damage, just like 8 times a second. But I guess it doesn't quite work that way. Good. Okay, we're well stocked on bombs. I'm not sure if it's 99, but probably more bombs than we'll have time to use before we die or defeat the boss. Good, we're at 99. I'm probably going to die before I get to more oxygen. We can see if we can maybe try to avoid that. No, alright, on this route it's actually fine. So I gotta... Here. We can avoid the robots. Yeah, what it looks like on the right, actually. So much for that. Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to get through here. Might have been worth it to just tank a death. Oh, no. So close. Yeah, so we've only taken like 2 continues, and I feel like at this rate, like, even though we can die pretty quickly, we're not going through that many screens, so I think this credit should last us till we get to the exit. Because once we get out of the water, I think I go top right. And that's the last scientist. And who knows, we could even get an extra life till then. But we're not going to get there with 6 lives and full health, so... Great idea. Oh my... Alright, okay. We're not killing that guy. Oh, I start with 50 potion now. Okay, that's generous. I don't know if that was really worth it. Oh, we got 99 potion now. I lost a life for it, but... Yeah, we start with 50 scuba. Well, we'll see. Thought I guess I only killed the one dude. This guy dropped. I could swear that I got at least one nuke somewhere. Not multiple. It's not. Oh, there we go. One nuke. Alright, 3 lives. You completed your mission. Now find the teleport. Okay. Oh, I made the jump. Nice. I'll make a jump over there. Jump over. Yeah. Of course, fall damage. Yeah, I don't know. This stage has been cool, you know, we got the werewolf potions and all that, but I don't know that it's been the most fun. Got some annoying stuff to deal with. Right, I have to basically this. Oh, wait, what the heck? Guess I'm starting to fade out. You know what? I should have just werewolf jumped up there, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Almost accidentally spent my nuke. Ooh, okay, that was lucky. We still have the big dude in front of the exit, so we got 3 lives to spend. I mean, if push comes to shove, we can actually do fall damage, but that's obviously going to be hugely arduous. So, oh man, actually, tonight. Faster. Hopefully, the trigger for not being able to continue is not having killed or having saved all the scientists. I think actually, yeah, crouching next to him. Okay, let's hopefully I can continue. Yeah. Taking damage. All right. Not oh, okay. Not too much. And there's a burger there. So nuke, bomb. Just like trying to remember the order. Okay. Okay, there's one death. Like, trying to actually dodge stuff seems impossible. Like, not really a viable strat. Okay, we got one thing. Oh, there's a thing on the back, too. Okay, I already started hitting this thing in the front, so...
Almost out of bombs. Okay, got it. 3 lives left. I'm out of bombs. Okay, I'm feeling... Okay, if this is... There's no phases after this. This seems doable. Still pretty tense, though. Movement pattern. This is a... Seems like a decent safe spot, at least. Well, we'll have 16 minutes. Use some iframes. Land a few hits there. Okay, we have 2 full lives, and I've landed quite a few hits. The gun is not as powerful as the bomb, but I'm landing hits with some regularity. And I did use the nuke. It's stressful. Pretty bad. Oh boy, I'm getting worried now. I think for the first target, like the one that was closest to me, I could probably have done a better job of being like more like aiming a little more deliberately. And I think getting the pod on the top from behind was pretty good. Oh. Okay, some pretty good hits right there. At least that doesn't do like a ton of damage. I just got hit from below the ground. Oh! Did we do it? I'm nervous. Oh, fuck. Oh, wait. My pants turned blue. The passcode to start on mission 1. 113674. I just fucked up the timer there, but I think we can maybe end the time there anyway. Oh, okay, we did it. We did it. Advanced continuous strats. Well, man's got to do what a man's got to do. I know Colonel Monty would be fully understanding. So, I think someone mentioned in chat on Monday that the game loops. But I think, if I recall, I didn't remember this until just now. If I recall, someone said that, like, from what I caught, maybe it's like it doesn't loop infinitely, or like there's only 2 loops or something, but I'm not sure if it means if it's full on, you know, Ghosts and Goblins, like you got to do the second loop and then there's the real final boss and then there's the ending, or if it just like the game changes in loop 2 but then it doesn't change after that.
I honestly kind of feel inclined to do a little bit of research on this before making a final call on what the next kind of course of action is here. I mean, we can press A and see what happens here. I'm assuming we're just going to see the same cutscene. No, Scumlord flies to safety in his escape pod.
Well done, James. You completed all your missions, but failed to capture Scumlord. Do you want to bring him to justice? You must complete all the missions again.
That seems somewhat unambiguous. Let's keep going, because if by the time, like, if the final boss would be more difficult, I feel like we would know well in advance of that point that the game will have become more difficult. And the second loop final boss, given how small of a margin we had there, I don't feel very confident about my ability to complete the final boss if it's harder. At least not without an annoying amount of attempts. But if the gameplay seems to be identical, then I think we could get through all of the stages pretty quickly. So I think we should keep going in the name of research. And if by the end of tonight's stream, I feel like it's kind of hopeless or whatever, then maybe we will take a look at a YouTube video of the ending or something. I'm not sure, but we'll soldier on for now. So let me fix the timer here so it doesn't just reset. I don't want to know right away, like, because like we got a little bit of time to spare now anyway. So I don't mind, like, some people might not have seen stage 1, so we'll just play a little bit and we'll figure out in a little bit within the next hour if we need to do external research or if we'll just keep going. Like, I guess the thing is, even if it's all the same, will I really want to actually play through the whole game again? I don't know that that's a given. So there's 5 missiles. I seem to remember it being 6, but that's probably just me misremembering. It seems more likely that I misremembered it than the second loop having 1 less. Oh yeah, right, you can't jump onto ladders. You can jump off of them, though. Oh, shit. So this is identical so far. I get the impression that nothing about this second playthrough is going to actually change. And like, just trying to think about the logistics and kind of the purpose of what we're doing here. I don't think I have enough time to complete all 4 levels before we have to wrap up. And I don't know that I would want to save, like, oh yeah, doing stage 3 and stage 4 again for the next stream. Or, like, even worse, playing this for an hour and then saying, we're not going to play this more, but then still have to spend you know, a little bit of time on the next stream just to like watch the ending or whatever. But here's interesting. Okay, so I died. And I didn't get to continue. Because I was about to say, the stages seem the same. But an easy way that they could increase the difficulty would be to limit lives and continues. It's possible, again, that it's like, that it seems as if I game over on one, you know, I can't continue because of the second loop. Could be that it was counting my continues and it was carrying over. You know, we can try this real quick. I can enter the password. So it's showing the intro. It didn't show this intro when we actually did the second loop, did it? I think it just gave us the dialogue scene with the Colonel. So what I want to do here is I basically want to game over and see if like you can determine anything based on that. So melting myself on this guy's hitbox. Well, the water's actually pretty harmful. Let's say bumping into him. There we go. I set up the loop perfectly. This is basically just purely academic research here. But I'm curious. But either way, like I'm happy to just kind of feel like I've seen the whole game. Like I said before, you know, the challenge in overcoming it and the bragging rights of having completed it or whatever, that's very inconsequential for me. Especially if I'm having fun with a game and from a certain point the pursuit of a particular, you know, milestone makes it no longer fun, then, you know, I'm good. But I'm curious, of course, to see if there is an ending, but I'm sure if there is, we could find it on YouTube easily enough. Well, I wouldn't say I'm sure, but I would assume. Yeah, see, with the password, I still don't get to continue. So I take it to mean that on the second loop, you have to clear each stage on a single continue. Or a single credit, I should say. Which I feel pretty confident in saying that I am not capable of. And I have very limited interest in building that, you know, skill set or experience. So I'm gonna just do a quick bit of manual research and see what it says. The guide and walkthrough. Curious to see how it explains it, because I'm sure it'll get to it. Huh. Yeah. It says, if you want to bring him to justice, you must complete all the missions again, right? From there, you'll return to the first mission, repeat all the missions to view the true final ending. No changes are added to the levels, so you can use the walkthrough again should you need it for the second quest. What's up, Doom Noob? Yeah, but that's interesting, you know, because it's... I'm still, like, it's weird to me that the... I didn't read the entire guide, but this guide's description of the second quest makes no mention of changes to the continue system or anything. The passwords that are in the guide are not the passwords that... Hang on. No, they are. They're the same passwords. So the passwords clearly do not store lives or continues or anything like that. Yet, I used the password to stage 1, loop 2, and I game overed without being able to continue. So there, I could use a password to get to level 4 on the second loop, but it wouldn't help me. So I think we'll have to find a YouTube video or some such of the true final ending. Let's see, hop on and see what I can find real quick. What's everybody's opinion on Mortal Kombat 11? I like Mortal Kombat 11 an awful lot. It is, in many ways, my favorite Mortal Kombat game. Mechanically, it's very different from X, because MKX is like super fast-paced and aggressive. MK11 is much more kind of slow and methodical. I think many people would describe it as kind of a drier fighting game. I mean, that's a term that I tend to use, and I don't use it disparagingly. I like dry fighting games. But what I mean by that, it's like a little more sort of toned down. Other games like that, to me at least, is like Super Turbo, Virtua Fighter. I mean, yeah, Super Turbo is like completely unhinged and it's very fast paced, but it doesn't have like a million systems. It's pretty stripped down. And I mean, yeah, so as far as Street Fighter goes, Super Turbo is like not dry compared to certain other Street Fighter games in some respects. But yeah, I mean, on the global scale, Street Fighter is a little more dry. Not Street Fighter 6 necessarily, but on average, compared to, you know, anime games, Marvel vs. Capcom, Guilty Gear, whatever else. But it's not, there's no real, I mean, it's a term I basically made up. So it's not really a super strict definition. But I think it's, I mean, I like the story in all the games. I think the story mode is fun. MK11 had the Aftermath expansion, like extra story. But it's, I didn't necessarily think Aftermath was amazing. But, you know, your mileage may vary. But MK11 I know is on Game Pass, and it's like, those games always go on sale. And there's like no shortage of entertainment to be derived from any of those games, in my opinion. Killer Instinct is like polar opposite of a dry fighting game, because it's got like not only the combo system and like the flashiness of it, which is kind of mostly what I'm thinking of. It is also a game with like constant interactions between the players because of the combo breaker system and everything. Yeah, I was having like I was messing around a little bit with Guilty Gear Strive, just to kind of do some Xbox Game Pass mission stuff. And it's like, yeah, I get some achievements in one of these games, and Strive happened to be on there. So I was just like, I'm dabbling with it a little bit. Just like, I didn't even bother hooking up my stick, just playing with pad a little bit. And I definitely cannot play fighting games with pad, let alone something like Guilty Gear. And yeah, just doing some tutorial missions and stuff. I just get like completely exhausted before I even get to start playing it proper. Because there's like 5 types of Roman cancels, and there's like all these different systems. And I think MK in general is usually a little less kind of system intensive. MK11 has like the meter management and kind of resource management aspect of that game is it's pretty unique. It's pretty different because you have like 2 different meters and they replenish automatically. It's actually a little bit similar to the drive system in Street Fighter 6. Not the same, but a little bit similar. But I mean, I wouldn't hesitate to recommend MK11. I think it's excellent, and the barrier to entry in terms of cost shouldn't be very high. Like, you're not risking too much checking it out. Yeah, like all 3 modern MKs are quite different from one another. They all build on similar concepts, but like they're pretty deliberately taken in different directions. Like I said, X is like super aggressive, because you have not only the run mechanic, but also like just there's so many like 50-50 mix-ups that lead to giant combos and absurd damage. And MK11 isn't really like that. Like pretty deliberately, like all 50-50s that you can do are either very unsafe or don't lead to big damage. There's like hardly any moves that have armor, and like basically they kind of changed it so that the things that really frustrated some people with MKX is like super toned down in 11. But it wasn't like they took all the fun out of the game. At least I don't feel that way. Some people do. But it just kind of has a different flavor to it. But it's not like... It's not exactly closer to MK9 either, because MK9 is sort of unhinged in its own way. But I'm super duper excited to see what the new game's going to be like on so many different vectors. The kind of art direction and aesthetic, the narrative, story, world stuff, the, you know, the system mechanics. Like, what will it retain from MK11? What will it retain from any of the other previous games? How completely different might it be? Because, you know, the MK series has kind of a tradition of reinventing itself every couple of games. So it could be something completely foreign. For ease of streaming, I am currently, by the way, downloading a long play video here that we can look at. My speed suddenly tanked, so it's taking a couple of minutes, but that's fine. I don't mind taking a break to talk about Mortal Kombat. They did not say that the Mortal Kombat is a remake of Mortal Kombat 1, because they have literally not said anything. The game, the official reveal is happening tomorrow, was just announced. The title has not been revealed. Nothing has, like, literally nothing about the game has been revealed. Technically, nothing. The fact that it's a Mortal Kombat game has not been revealed. There's been a lot of speculation. There's been a lot of rumors. There's been some details that some people claim to be leaks. But I don't take any of that to be factual. The end of MK11 leaves the story at a point where they basically have a complete blank slate. So there is basically no way you can't really, it's not really possible to make a game that is a direct continuation of MK11. So the new game, no matter what, would be by some definition a reboot. I'm super excited, and I'm sure the whatever reveal they have tomorrow is going to raise more questions than it answers. At least if we can go by previous, like if we look at every previous NRS, Mortal Kombat, and Injustice game, every game was always announced with a cinematic CG trailer. Because I know that, like, MK9 was at E3 and Injustice was at E3, but I would think that before then they had like reveal trailers that were all CG. Because like I vividly remember a lot of the MK9 CG trailers. I just don't strictly remember the exact timeline of like when what was revealed, but I'm pretty sure those trailers came first. And I know with MKX and MK11 and Injustice 2, that was 100% the case. That they, like the MK11 first trailer had Scorpion and Raiden fighting in like the snow or whatever, and then during the fight, like UMK3 Scorpion showed up. So people were like, all right, is this some kind of multiverse time travel kind of a thing, which turned out to be the case, but that wasn't made explicit in the trailer. And you know, so basically the first trailer reveal for any of these games tend to basically confirm the title of the game, let's say between 2 and 4 characters who will appear in the game, and basically that's it. Maybe a tease or a hint at storyline direction or something like that. But I'm 100% expecting not to see gameplay. They will drop a trailer, and then we'll see gameplay reveal at one of the E3 adjacent events. The Sony stream next week seems like a good candidate. If it's not there, I'm sure it'll be at Summer Game Fest thing or possibly Microsoft's thing. But I think it seems pretty likely that it's going to show up at Sony, and they're doing this kind of ahead of it to build excitement. Is it weird to be excited about the story? I don't think so. People can be excited about whichever part they want, and that's clearly something they put a lot of effort into. We'll keep the timer going until we've investigated the ending, and we'll leave it at that. Looks like this finished, so let's do that. Oh yeah, we have the manual there. Let me just fade this out. Get rid of that. And let's take a look if I can find... Nope, not the James Bond Jr. opening. There we go. It's like the quality is too good. It's gonna look like I'm playing, but it doesn't look. I'm used to watching like shitty VHS rips. That's fine. I don't really think we need to watch. Honestly, like the ending is really the only thing that I'm kind of interested in. Oh, yeah, well, I guess it's 30 FPS, so that's fine. Skip through it. Well, we can obviously jump a little faster here. Swimming part in stage 1. Yeah, there's some pretty nice looking rooms here. I do wonder, like, I guess... No, actually, we can probably... We should just skip to loop 2 anyway. Oh yeah, here's first boss. Yeah, he's 7 lives. Like, I mean, I don't know if this is played by Slouchy and save stated or whatever, but I mean, I'm sure people who put the effort in could learn to play this game well. And it's funny, you know, we talked about speedrun stuff, and there's, you know, strats to tanking enemies using the jetpack to navigate through stage 3 more quickly, and etc. But yeah, like, if you have to actually survive, dodge bullets and shit, seeing people actually sort of speedrun through the second loop, it would be kind of interesting. Yeah, none of the villains in the show appear in the game at all. Scumlord sort of appears. But I don't think... The thing is, like, from what the guide said anyway, it doesn't appear to be a different boss at the end of loop 2. Anyway, here's stage 2. We have to find blueprints. But you can tell too, like, the playthrough of this video is like, what was it, 251? And that's for clearly someone who knows the game. But I mean, my timer is at 340 whatever, but that's like redoing stages, and like, I feel like just watching the play, like, it's a lot slower. Let's see if we can see a safe cracking minigame just to see what that, like, to show how that looks like for people who didn't watch. This was developed by Eurocom. It's a cool game, but I think it's just like kind of typical, like, British developer. You saw it with a lot of sort of licensed games and stuff where it's sort of, or even not just licensed stuff, but even like, you know, ports of Japanese arcade games and stuff where they're just like, ah, fuck it, we'll change a bunch of stuff, we'll make our own music, we'll write our own storyline. Like the fucking hidden message in Amiga Final Fight, where it's like you enter a code or something, and then like in the intro sequence you see a little pencil drawing like a mustache and glasses on Hagar's portrait or whatever, and then the text in the intro just like goes completely off kilter, like with sort of a message from the developer. and then there's like a hidden ending where they sort of it's like what happened after the game, and it's just like gives this like completely made up joke epilogues for all the characters, which is completely ridiculous. But it's like the kind of stuff you can get when people, when a game is contracted to like 1 or 2 19-year-olds to put together in a couple of weeks, and there's zero oversight. And sometimes, they would make something based on a license where they're just like probably don't have access to a lot of materials. The licensor like kind of don't really give a shit. And yeah, that's where you end up with a game like this where stage 1, the boss is a totem pole. Stage 2, there is no boss. Stage 3, there is no boss. Stage 4, I guess 3 pixels of a blue hat, maybe, in a spaceship. So that's disappointing for sure, given that like the villains are pretty fun and cool. But it's a pretty cool game in its own right, anyway. Thanks, LCC. Well, LGN is not a pseudonym. LGN is a toy company that published games, but they didn't have internal development, so they would contract development, which is like very common nowadays as well. And it's just like a little bit, sometimes the actual developer is more prominently advertised. Like in this case, Eurocom is featured prominently on the titles, or in the boot up sequence. But the publisher's company name is always going to be a lot more prominently displayed because they're the ones who paid for the game to get made. Generally, the only time developer names are like featured pretty prominently, like if it's a game that's sort of for hire like that, is if they were able to negotiate it, or if the developer name is actually a selling point. But there's a million games, back in this time frame, arcade ports, companies that were primarily arcade developers who had a console division, or publishing division, didn't necessarily develop the console ports themselves. Like there's a bunch of console versions of games from like Sega or Capcom or whoever else, Namco, where the developer of the console port is some kind of unnamed subcontractor. Anyway, this is stage 2. Here we go in stage 3. Cool looking stage. Anyway, stage 4. Werewolf stage, rescuing scientists. Yeah, the thing about this game is that it's visually so cool, but it's like 4 stages. It doesn't like. Oh, interesting. The scuba gear actually does refill when you're on land, but only up to 50. It's kind of funny. It's a very missed opportunity not to have, themed stages based on the villains and the different sort of countries and locations, because in the show, like every episode is in a different, like it's all about some different national landmark or whatever. Wait, did I just... Yeah, I think I skipped forward 1 minute and it skipped the entire boss fight. So actually I want to see the boss fight here. Oh, maybe the gun is the faster way to... I was just assuming that the bomb would be much better. Oh, he has 5 nukes. Oh, yeah, because he got the nukes from the other... Yeah, okay. That explains why you could do it so quickly. So I guess the strat is to, like, start from stage 3. So I guess even the second loop, right? If you start with 6 lives... and you do play quite carefully. Obviously, we skipped through it, but just based on how he played, I could see him not having game overed once throughout the game. But although, like, I don't think... I'm trying to remember. I think you keep all your weapons when you game over. The only thing is, like, if you use a password, it's the same as starting over. You don't keep any of your inventory. Yeah, for sure. Soundproof. We talked about this a bit before too. Like, it was pretty common. You know, a lot of people have like this very disparaging sort of view on British and European games in general, and without kind of lacking a little bit of the full context of the fact that even though there were like higher budget premium PC game releases and what have you, a lot of the development scene was, you know, a lot more sort of hobby oriented, and games in general were a lot cheaper. They were made for, you know, obviously the Amiga was quite powerful, but, you know, the ZX Spectrum wasn't exactly a powerhouse. So you had these like cheap games made for kind of weaker, cheaper platforms, but it was a lot of it driven by really creative and kind of tech savvy people. So like if you look at the kind of European developed NES games, for example, I think there's kind of a common thread throughout, you know, on average, throughout all those games of like technical sophistication, and like cool shit going on. Like the graphics in this, I think, is, you know, maybe not the sort of art direction, character design side of it, but from a technical standpoint, it's certainly, you know, I wouldn't say that it's like one of the best looking games on the NES, but it's like, it's a looker for sure. Like, you know, they do a lot of good stuff. A lot of cool little effects and stuff going on, like little water surface there. Like, yeah, the visual presentation and the music's great too, you know. Yeah, like the sprites are mostly well executed, but it doesn't, I wouldn't say that it's got quite the finesse of, you know, what you would expect from Japanese artists, for sure, in terms of just like sort of character appeal. It's not bad, but it's just like, I don't know, it doesn't, I think stuff like that keeps it from being like top tier. And I don't think the animation, there's a surprising amount of animation, but the kind of the way the characters are posed and making the most of limited amounts of frames and everything, the craftsmanship of the animation, I think, is distinctly kind of less impressive. They're kind of brute forcing it with a lot of animation frames in some places, but it's not the most kind of evocative or aesthetically impressive. I mean, I think it's even extrapolating further to stuff like, you know, the kind of American PC market for a long time, in a very, very general sense, I feel like it's not unfair to say that the kind of Western game development scene was more kind of tech driven, whereas the Japanese scene and market was more art driven. But I think it's cool. There's interesting stuff like there are, and you know, European games is not completely homogenous kind of monolithic thing either. But games, it's cool to see how sort of games from different parts of the world have sort of created their own jargon and kind of common themes, because they were, you know, of course things would be, you know, people would be inspired by other games, and all the markets were a lot more isolated and segregated back then. You know, the video games and computers were not a global market. I mean, people didn't even have the same platforms really throughout the different parts of the world. Even different parts of Europe had like different computer platforms being totally different. Like different levels of popularity. That enemy is so fucked. And yeah, like the I mean, even speaking of arcade stuff, like that's so interesting too, because I think there's this very common, I'm just gonna skip ahead a little bit. People are very quick to point, lovely background noise, to arcade games as being like quarter muncher, just out to get your money. There's no like the prime sort of directive of any arcade game is to basically mug you. And I think there's a kernel of truth to that, but I think it doesn't apply to arcade games, period. Obviously, arcade games are designed to be profitable, but, you know, so are most commercial things. You wouldn't say that, like, oh man, action movies are just designed to extract your movie theater ticket money. Like, well, you pay to see a movie and it entertains you. But I think people tend to have a very harsh view. I mean, not like arcade game enthusiasts, obviously, but broadly, a lot of people, I think, have that kind of view of arcade games. And to continue being very broad and generalized, I think that is sort of true, or at least more true than otherwise, of American arcade games. But I don't think it's true of Japanese arcade games, at least not good ones. Where, yeah, obviously they can be very, very difficult, but it feels like the general kind of design ethos of Japanese arcade games tends to be that as difficult or challenging or like off-putting almost as it might seem when you first try it, there is an idea that like we intend and expect players to gain mastery and potentially complete the game and getting good at it and, you know, getting higher scores and completing it on a single credit and whatever. And I don't think, like, looking at companies like Atari or Midway or Williams, depending on era, like most games didn't necessarily have an ending to begin with, and if they do, like, they were infinitely more shameless in like taking players' money. Like Gauntlet was seen as this like absolute landmark game, and it's, you know, it's a kind of cool game. It's you know, an early attempt at sort of this Dungeons and Dragons sort of vibe in an arcade game. But it's like a bit of a mess, and it's sort of like, it's not that fun. I don't know. I mean, people had fun with it. It was a successful game, but it's like the most. It was really interesting to watch, like the game developers conference, post-mortem, like classic game post-mortem about Gauntlet, because it kind of feels like the prevailing sort of thought was that it was really celebrated kind of in the industry for like being so effective at making money because it's so shameless about it. Like Gauntlet, if you haven't played it, it's a top-down sort of action RPG looking thing, and the kind of core mechanic of it is that your health constantly drains. Your health is a timer. And yeah, you can get food, but like it's a race against time, and you cannot win. The game is simply not designed for you to insert one credit and like use your skill to get as far as you can. It's sort of a battle for attrition, and I think that is much more the classic kind of, or what became the classic sort of American arcade game design. Midway, I think, are really cool. I love a lot of their games, and I think they kind of developed a really interesting kind of design philosophy in the 90s where they were extremely rude and shameless about taking your money, but they were so kind of audacious in their just general vibe and like the presentation and the visuals and everything that people were excited to play the games, like knowing that like, oh shit, this game's gonna rob me, but it's so fucking cool, I'm actually gonna put up with it. Like when people celebrate games like Smash TV or Mortal Kombat or NBA Jam or whatever, not to say that game design doesn't come into the picture, but I don't think that sort of design of the challenge to provide some contrast. A game that I often bring up is Final Fight. It's one of my favorite games of all time, and it's a type of game that it's incredibly difficult. It's incredibly ruthless, but it's a game that feels designed to master. And you can say the same of any Capcom game from that kind of era. And I think when I sort of highlight what's good about that game and what makes it so cool, the enemy design and the encounter design and like how they balance the difficulty and all that, like despite it being difficult, like those things are key to what makes that game great. But if I look at NBA Jam, I love that game, and I think those games are fun against the computer, but not if I had to spend the amount of money to play it in the arcade that the game actually asks of you. So I wouldn't highlight the sort of the fine-tuning of the challenge against the AI to be like what makes that game good in any way. So I think like you can look at those kind of literal actual order muncher sort of games and find a lot of things to enjoy about them and even consider them a masterpiece, but it's not necessarily on the same grounds as you would a Japanese arcade game. So I think they're just kind of fundamentally quite different from one another, and I think it's perfectly fine to not be intrigued by or interested in or appealed by any kind of arcade game design. But I think it's a little bit either disingenuous or ignorant or some combination of both to dismiss American and Japanese arcade games on the same exact grounds, because I think they're different enough that critiques against one does not necessarily apply to the other. And I think, you know, that's one of many examples in which different kind of design philosophies evolved in parallel in different parts of the world. Killer Miller EX, greetings. We finished the first loop and basically determined that the second loop, which is the exact same game, but there's no continues, was going to be too difficult or tedious or not fun to actually play. So I'm watching a playthrough, kind of skipping through it to see what the actual second loop true ending is. Well, when you defeat the final boss, he escapes, and your superior officer basically says, "Good job, James, you completed the mission, but Scumlord escaped. If you want to bring him to justice, you're just gonna have to do everything one more time." And you get a new password to stage 1, and from there onwards, basically it appears, from as far as I can tell, that you can no longer continue. Because in the first loop, whenever you game over, you literally continue from exactly where you stand until you get to the final boss. And if you game over on the final boss, you just game over. And that seems to be the case for the entire second loop. And I basically got through the first loop by just tanking everything, because that was faster and easier and less annoying than trying to actually avoid 8,000 bullets. It's a little funky. Anyway, that's the stage 2, right? Yeah. Or stage 3. Oh, these rooms were cool. But yeah, stage 3 is when the game starts getting, like, kind of nuts. I mean, the thing is, like, my experience was also colored a little bit by my first attempt at stage 1. I actually did time over, which is a full, proper, uncontinuable game over also. And I was fucking around a lot, but I did actually fail stage 1. And after that, I was like, well, I gotta rush it more. But, you know, on all the other stages, I did complete the stage with a lot of time to spare. So you could, you know, take it easier, take it slower. But it's not easy. This game, you know, if you play it proper way, it's pretty fucking hard because your character moves a little bit sluggishly at times. Jumps are floaty and not super easy to control. But mostly, and, you know, you have stuff like there's a little bit of delay on crouching, turning around, etc. Because the character's like, there's too much animation and it doesn't like... I mean, it's not strictly because of it, but sometimes, like the crouching, for example, there's a little animation when you get in or out of a crouch, during which time you cannot move or turn around. So some of the animation priority is like a bit messed up. But mostly there's just like so many enemies, so many bullets everywhere, and every enemy takes like 8 billion hits. Yeah, but this is maybe the coolest stage. But some of those machine rooms get like kind of ridiculous because you're on these like hovering platforms above the electricity, and you can so easily get looped and just bounce around until you die. So yeah, properly clearing second loop of this. I mean, you do get passwords, so you just gotta kind of do it one stage at a time. But after having completed loop 1 and knowing that loop 2 is the same, yeah, I don't have the patience for it. Like, especially given that the main purpose of this project is to kind of explore the game, see what they have to offer, see what they're like. I'm fine not spending another, like, 3 streams trying to beat loop 2. Well, boss rushes are sick. That's like a... would never say that that's, like... generally a bad thing. I mean, it can be really difficult and annoying depending on how it's done, but conceptually it's fucking sick. I was hoping I'd fooled myself into thinking that maybe we would get the villains of the actual show in the final stage, because the manual says that like there's bosses protecting each of the scientists that you have to rescue, but the bosses are in fact a couple of giant wasps, dudes in spider mechs, etc. I mean, they're kind of cool in their own right, but yeah, it seems very strange to just completely not use... I mean, not only not use the villains from the show... Yeah, look at this fucking room. I'm curious to see how he does it, actually. Oh, that was him getting out of it? Or is he like... I don't know. Okay, let's see here. I'm like skipping back and forth to see how he does it. Not only are the villains cool, but like the main theme of the show is like this globe-trotting adventure with different locations in every episode. And this game is all like secret base on a tropical island. Like the villain schemes almost always have something to do... Oh, he wants to collect the 1-ups, I guess, maybe? Oh, no, it's going back. I see. Okay, I see. Yeah, you gotta be really strategic about some of these pickups and stuff, I guess. The villain schemes often are related to, you know, whatever location the episode is centered around. Very kind of, you know, Carmen Sandiego sort of edutainment vibes. Not to say that the game should have been educational, but like... I don't know, I guess this feels like quite Euro game as well, to have these like abstract sort of cyber environments or whatever. I mean, not that like generic hallways is a uniquely European concept, but like, hey, we just wanted to make this cool shit. Whatever, it doesn't really matter how it fits. So the game, decent game as it is, certainly doesn't really have the flavor of the show. Man, this is like... Yeah. This video is making this look a lot easier than it is. Yeah, like if you stand on that little platform, I think you're aligned to actually shoot the thing in the center, but you can see that you just get, like, there's bullets constantly. So if you try to jump to avoid, like, this is a good strat. If you're riding the platform and try to jump to avoid the bullets, you're gonna likely jump into other bullets and or just fall down. But just land, like, doing these jumps to land on the platform is a lot harder than it looks, because the jumps are floaty and it's a little bit there's like a slight delay on the jump, which makes it, like, it's not that it's unresponsive, but for a jump that's like variable in height, the timing of how you let go of the button to control the height of the jump is like fairly unnatural. I'm assuming he's gonna jetpack over there to get the lives. Yeah. I didn't bother because I could just infinite continue. It's played by Lord Slouchy, probably. I didn't bother looking, but I'm gonna say probably. Yeah, this guy will melt you if you touch him. So the game actually has a very impressive, like, amount of enemies, and, like, they're all kind of well drawn. Some of them are pretty big. There's some animation. The enemies are all well done. I feel like this, like, I wouldn't say that it's a better game without the license, but, like, it could work just fine without it and not raise the questions of, like, well, where are all the villains? I'm really curious to see how the Super Nintendo game is going to compare. Oh yeah, so yeah, no boss at the end of that stage. Gotta find and release the scientists. Alright, Fortress is impenetrable, but not to intrepid teenage secret agent James Bond Jr. Alright, it's getting late. Let's wrap this up. Oh yeah, so this stage, by the way, you can turn into a werewolf by drinking a werewolf potion. And yeah, there's like guts monster aliens on this stage. And also big dudes. But yeah, I mean, given that he, like, playing through the other stages, collecting the 3 or 4 nukes at the end of stage 3, the idea of, like, how you could possibly beat this seems, I mean, honestly, it's just like surviving the stages is the tricky part, because if you have the nukes, the final boss, like, not that big of a deal. What's up, Bruno? We're watching a playthrough because I completed the first loop. But apparently you need to complete the second loop to get the real ending. And on the second loop, you don't get to continue when you game over. Which makes it a lot harder, to say the least. Thanks for the reminder. Look at that fucking enemy. Yeah, like, perched up there to snipe. Like, Scumlord is kidnapping weapons experts to do something with his world domination device. It's just going completely unmentioned how and why he's got, like, giant wasps. Weird, like, caterpillars that seem to turn into half-melted biomechanical monster men. There's, like, the fucking abominable snowmen walking around. Like, he's up to a lot of weird shit. That seems, worthy of a raised eyebrow, at least. Yeah, look at these guys. And the only way to defeat these guys, either use a screen-clearing nuke, or drink one of the potions you can find, turn into a werewolf, and bash into them. Yeah, we'll see it here. He's gonna have to use the werewolf potion. Then, could you think of something that sounds more like a fucking schoolyard made-up shit? Like, oh yeah, I played this James Bond game. And you have to drink a potion, and you press the button, he actually drinks it, and then he slowly turns into a werewolf, and then you can jump really high. Like, it's so absurd. It's another nuke. Yeah, another horrible underwater segment. Anyway, we can speed ahead here. animation. So he's, yeah, okay, he's up to, whoa, let's not miss the entire boss fight. Yep, there's the werewolf transformation. Unique werewolf ladder sprites. I mean, that's so cool. Like, he's got the scuba gear, the werewolf form. Like, different idle animations with different weapons. Yeah, you have the jetpack, too. Alright, oh, okay. I didn't think I'd skip that far ahead, but... That's the teleporter that opens up when you completed all the objectives. Here's Scumlord in his Dr. Wily jet. This looks fucking good. I mean, if someone just showed me this sprite and told me that it was from a Sunsoft game or whatever, I'd believe them. Someone mentioned similarities to Journey to Silius. Which isn't something I would have thought of, but I don't think I would disagree. Yeah, just spamming all the nukes on the boss, that's the strat for sure. But getting there is the real issue. Scumlord's Island Fortress is destroyed. It's Island Fortress, huh? Well done, James. You completed all your missions. And also captured Scumlord. I think you should take a well-earned holiday. I'm on my way, Colonel. Alright, this is pretty sick. That's a pretty sick ending. Holy shit. Alright, there you go. Alright, we got one last thing we gotta do. Let's bring back the game. There's a very good tropical James Bond Jr. sprite just standing there on the beach awkwardly. The game FAQs guide does tell us that there are in fact additional passwords beyond just the level passwords. So we should check those out real quick. No. Apparently this is a sound test. Oh, look at this. Little waveform. That's actually pretty sick. I don't know that I've seen that in an NES game. Pretty cool. This is kind of cool, weird shit that I feel like you mostly see in European games. Yeah, this is the stage 3 music, I think, the slow jam. Definitely gotta add all these music to my music playlist for streams. Like, I want to add all the Bond music, like I added a bunch of Batman music, but I don't want to get too ahead of myself and add a bunch of music for games we haven't played yet, necessarily. I didn't want to spoil myself on the music in Operation Stealth, for sure. But of course, there's going to be a lot of, you know, post-GoldenEye exceptions here and there. There's GBA games and whatever else, but like, I'm sure a lot of the music there's going to be in games is not going to be game music that's going to be like very interesting to listen to on stream, especially not if it's like actual movie score license shit that's just going to get me DMCA. But stuff like this, hell yeah. Is it the final stage? I think so. This like objective complete. That's stage 1, I think. So I was just curious if we could get the alarm noise background, but I guess not. That's probably for the best. All right, so there is in fact. Oh wow! Now it actually kept my password. Okay, let's reset. Wait, okay, it does keep my score. Oh, there we go. I think it's all 8s. It's very interesting in the video. It appears that the ending does not actually show credits. There we go. Design and program by Chris Shrigley. Additional design by Martin Sneap, Hugh Binns, Neil Baldwin. Additional program by Tim Rogers. There's gonna be a Nigel there somewhere. Graphics by Martin Sneap, Hugh Binns. There's pretty British names here. Neil Baldwin. All right. Good job, Neil. Hardware by Richard Alton. Here's what that means. Oh, there we go. There's the credits. Hardware. Did they build some weird, like, homemade dev kit or something? Like, not unheard of for sure, right? But we'll put time there. Kind of an arbitrary number. We spent the last 40 minutes or so just watching the video. But I'm happy to call it there for James Bond Jr. on the NES. An interesting game. I wouldn't have had the, like, at least playing the way I did, I wouldn't have had the patience to adapt to the, you know, the demands of Loop 2. But I think also if I'd played it that way from the beginning, I would have not had as much fun during Loop 1 anyway. Cool game, and I fully expect the Super Nintendo one to be not nearly as fun or cool or interesting. I know for a fact that it's got way more whack audio. But I think it might be a little more... It might feel a little less sort of detached from the show. We will check out James Bond Jr. for the SNES, developed by Grey Matter in the not too distant future. But I feel like there's gonna be a lot of shit between now and then. Tomorrow, apparently, will be the reveal of the new Mortal Kombat game. I think it's at 8 a.m. Pacific or something. I have some plans tomorrow night, but I really hope I will have time to have seen this first, so I don't have to, like, miss it or whatever. But I won't be able to do, like, some kind of stream live reaction or whatever. Friday, we have a viewer's choice versus fighting game stream scheduled. And I kind of feel slightly bad for, like, the people who would vote for games or pick games, and, like, I feel like everything's going to be derailed by Mortal Kombat 12 conversation, but I'm obviously eager to have those conversations anyway. And tomorrow is, or sorry, Friday is also the first day of the Street Fighter 6 open beta, and I'm gonna want to dabble with that. I messed a little bit with the demo. Came out when I was sick, so I didn't really have the energy to spend much time with it, and it's very limited. Some people have been sort of grinding it, but I played a couple of matches against the CPU, and it's like fun and it's cool, but it's like a little annoying to deal with. You can only do like a few matches and then you reset and whatever. You and Luke aren't necessarily the characters I'm the most excited for either. But the open beta is going to have the same 8 characters that were in the closed beta test earlier. So I have a few more characters. Like, there's not a ton of characters in that lineup. Like, none of the ones I'm the most excited about are in that group. But I want to mess around with Guile. I want to try out Ken, maybe Chun-Li a little bit. And so I don't think realistically that there's going to be really time to mess with it on Friday, because I actually want to do what we're supposed to do on that stream. But probably Saturday stream, we're going to talk more MK and play some Street Fighter 6 beta, and I don't know, just kind of chill. So maybe Monday we will return to Games Bond. Almost certainly not before then, at any rate. Isn't Zangief my main? Zangief is not my main in any game, really, but he's definitely one of the characters I'm the most excited to try out. I would say Zangief, Marisa, and Manon are the characters I'm the most excited to play, to try out. But Street Fighter 6 looks like a lot of fun, and there's a lot of characters that look really cool and fun to mess with. But anyway, exciting times ahead. Man, we're in like Street Fighter 6 is coming out very soon, and MK is coming out this year supposedly, which I do believe fully. And even though it's probably not out for a good while, there's new Tekken 8 stuff coming out regularly. We got the fucking Cobra game and every like 12 other games from Microids every day. So I think yeah, exciting times ahead. And Sony just announced their showcase, which is on Wednesday next week, and I believe it starts 10 p.m. my time, and it's supposed to go for a bit over an hour. So we might just do an extended stream next Wednesday to do live reactions to that. And that's not a promise, but it's within the realm of possibility. Yeah, Microids are putting out... They're releasing a lot of licensed games. They announced, not super long ago, a game based on Grendizer. UFO robot Grendizer. And it looks sort of neat. And yeah, the Cobra game just... There's no information about it yet, other than it's coming. And I think they might have said, like, more information soon. So, E3 season is not, you know, not impossible. I don't know how long their kind of marketing cycles tend to be. So, but it's not necessarily a game that's like 3 years away. I mean, it could be. I don't know. But I'm extremely excited to learn more about it regardless. But yeah, those are some of the plans for upcoming streams and whatnots. MK Reveal is 3 p.m. Yeah, I'm terrible with time zones. I always get that shit mixed up. But yeah, I think it's gonna be that sounds about right. Afternoon sometime. If you are hungry for more James Bond Jr. and cannot wait until Monday, I have tomorrow off work, so I don't need to race to go to bed. And I think I will, in fact, watch an episode or two of the show and stream it on Discord if anyone wants to join me. The link for that is right there. We often do... I shouldn't say often, but every so often on Saturday nights we do movie nights together. And mostly we watch video game-based films, but sometimes we watch Bond films if it's relevant to James Bond. And we have currently watched a good handful of James Bond Jr. episodes, and it's a pretty fun show. I don't know that I'll commit to watching every episode. In fact, I know that I will not commit. But I want to watch more, and there's still a bunch of villains that we haven't even seen yet. We watched like 7 episodes or something total, I think. 7 or 8. So we'll squeeze in maybe 2 or 3 tonight. And basically, as soon as I wrap the stream, I'm gonna take a super short break, and then probably we'll get started. So if you want to join me for that, please feel free to do so. But if not, thank you very much for hanging out tonight. I will be back on Friday with some fighting games, and I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about with regards to Mortal Kombat. I won't be able to stick around necessarily, but if you do not have the interest or possibility to join me in watching some James Bond Jr., let's find someone else streaming on Twitch that we can rate. Oh, holy shit. All right. That's an easy choice. Geneva Lee is doing Black and White Week, and she's playing Mac Ventures. The original and best versions of those games. Of course, the Black and White Macintosh versions. She's playing Uninvited right now. It's pretty sick. If you're only familiar with the NES versions of those games, you owe it to yourself to check out the Mac versions for sure. Anyway, thank you again for hanging out. I'll see you guys in the near future. Take care, everybody. Have a nice evening, or whatever time it is from where you're watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.